Assalamu alaikum, and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us today. On behalf of the organizing team, I would like to sincerely thank you all for being here at our exclusive online session, Cracking the USMLE Before Graduation. This session has been designed to guide aspiring medical students on how to prepare effectively for the USMLE journey while still in medical school. We understand that balancing exam preparation alongside university can often feel overwhelming. And that is exactly why we are here today to learn from the experience of someone who has already walked this path and achieved success. It is truly an honor for me to introduce our speaker for this session, Ms. Noha Manzoor. She is a final year medical student at United Medical and Dental College, and she successfully cleared her USMLE Step 1 in 2024 while still in her fourth year. Her valuable insights, strategies, and personal experiences will surely inspire and guide us as we prepare for our own journeys. So, without further delay, let us warmly welcome Ms. Noha Manzoor to take the session forward. Over to you, Noha.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Am I audible before I begin?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm very happy to be here for you all, and I hope that this session gives you all clarity in your pathways, and for those beginning, then it could give them an inspiration or a motivation to begin. It's never too late. And before I start, I'd like to tell you guys that this whole session is about my experience. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for everyone. I'm not a user manual. So you can try my tips and tricks, and whatever works for you would be better, right? So I guess begin right away. Am I doing it from my screen? Sure. So the chat box is open throughout. If any of you guys want to ask something in between or share something, then I can like give a little break in between because I would like to keep the session more interactive. I don't just want it to be me just talking and not knowing what you guys are thinking. Okay. Let me know if my screen is there, Arfa.
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's begin. Cracking the USMLE Step 1 before graduation. And this is what we're going to be doing today, an overview. Pre-dedicated, which is before you start UL and stuff. I'll get into more detail on that. Know the exam, resources, year-wise, dedicated period, practical tips, frequently asked questions, and then we'll do a proper Q&A at the end. There's also a guest I'll be introducing. We'll come to that towards the end. It's a little surprise for you guys. Okay. The registration process from ECFMG My Intel. So this is basically a new transition that they have made. Instead of the ECFMG, it has transitioned into My Intel. It is a very simple way to look at it is that instead of using ECFMG now, everyone will be using My Intel. I did look into the registration process, the transition, and the little changes. I felt like that it was too recent and too new for me to speak about it because I usually like to experience something myself before I tell anyone or have gone through something myself just by me reading and just doing the research for you guys didn't seem appropriate. So my Intel's they have a user guide on their website. It's very clear. I used it for transitioning my account. So they literally give you pictures as well. Okay, do this step and then this. It's like a step-by-step guide. I think it's clear enough. And if you guys have any questions after that, then I am there. But how it was before was that you make an ID through the ECFMG website, and then you get an ID from that by putting in the information. That information as well, if you need help with that, I can guide you regarding your profile or the university's details and your expected graduation date, et cetera, et cetera. And after you've completed that, you'll get an email that you need to be notarized. That's basically a video session with an examiner or just an representative, and they ask you your personal details just to verify it. It's just like maybe like a 5-10 minute video session. And then after that, you have, completed your registration. And when you book your exam, you have to book a triad first. So what does that mean? A triad is basically the 3 months where you want to attempt the exam. Let's say I want to give it in August. So I would prefer to choose August, September, and October. So those are the 3 months that you're expected to give your exam. So you book that, and that is also the point where you make your payment. And then after booking the triad, then you secure an exam date through Prometric. And on that, you don't make any payment at that point, and you just keep looking for a suitable exam date for you. You could book um, any date in your triad. So within those 3 months. After you book the date, then there is a fee for changing it. I think 45 days above is free. And as you get closer, it goes up to $100. Then I'll be coming to the cost breakdown on the next slide. Exam outline, same thing. I could tell you it's a 8-hour exam. There's 7 blocks, 40 questions. You need to do each one. Like, all of that is available online. I'm sure it's all there for you guys, and it's better to do your own research um, instead of word of mouth, right? I'm very big on that because I have suffered a lot through situations like that, and I don't want anyone to be like, oh, she said this, she said that, right? Um, this is the exam outline I got here. I got this through a very famous blogger. I don't know if you guys follow him or not, Hamza Asif. I recently started following him actually. He gave the difference between what the current fee and what the new fee is. Overall, it's not much of a difference if you see it at the bottom. The only, I guess you would save if you are already an existing applicant with a step one registration done. And then after that, instead of $1,020, it's going to be like $695. So I was kind of happy to hear about that because it's a pretty expensive pathway, right? And I'd like to also give a little bit of information here is that throughout getting your ECFMG ID and then your verification. So over here, we didn't have to pay for the verification, and now in my Intel you do. Then the step one fee, there's also an international fee. I don't think he has mentioned it in this because mine was about $1,200 because there's like about 180 to $200 of an international fee. It's cheaper if you give it in the US. And same thing for the step two and pathways is later on, like during residency time. I don't think anyone's applying for residency this year. Okay, now we come to pre-dedicated. So pre-dedicated, I like to think of it as when you're starting UWorld. I don't believe that there's any preparation before you start UWorld. You could go on with books and short books like BRS and whatnot. Like that's when you're appearing for the exam, your actual studies start when you get your UWorld subscription. So it takes about people 4 to 6 months, depending. It took me 6 months to complete. Like if you add them all up, I did take a break for my profs in the middle. So aim to clear concepts through UWorld and complete the question bank. Work alongside modules and wards. That's what I did during pre-dedicated. I did not skip any classes. I did not skip any wards. I attended them and they did help because as I was studying, I was solidifying my concepts that way as well. Like during classes, I was better understanding them because I've already done the topic before. I mean, everyone tells you to do a topic before class. No one ends up doing it. But when you're preparing through UWorld, I felt like that information was constantly being revised because it's the high yield stuff, it's the relevance things, and you do see it around you. So, if there were any gaps, like if classes and words weren't enough, or you felt like, something was too confusing, then you can open a video resource. I will come to which ones in a bit. I used Anki Micro doing my words and classes. That was really like I felt like I was saving time that way because, whether you like it or not, you have to wait for the professor. There are times where, you get a good 10-15 minutes before class starts, or just anywhere where you feel like you can put in some prep. I would use an Anki deck because that's faster. It doesn't require too much brain power. And micro is such a topic that, you don't really need to understand something. It's just there. So that really helped. Some people say pharma is also good, but I wasn't the person who really felt like it was worth it for pharma. It was mainly for micro. And always pick up a step one resource for modules. I always relied on those because my main aim from first year was to give the step one within the 5 years. That's why I was after Saad. I kept telling him, I need some first years in this session. Where are they all? He was like, I shared the link with them, but I don't see any. I saw this morning that there was one. So I'm so glad that person joined because I started preparation from first year. Like I had that mindset. And when you have that mindset, you'll eventually get there. So use words as an opportunity to integrate prep with clinicals, as I mentioned before. So this is the pre-dedicated. And you should also know what you're being tested on. You don't want to prepare for an exam that you don't know what's, going to be tested, right? So this I found this out a little later on in my preparation. It's not too it won't affect it as much, but as you can see, some systems are tested more than the rest and some subjects. And there was a question that they were asking what subject is highly weighted. So very clearly it's pathology. And I feel like it's also pathology with pathophysiology, I would say more. Um, then as you like, you can basically just see what it's divided based on. And like I said, I do think that my exam was weighted this way, but some people disagree with me, but it's clearly known on the website. I didn't see any difference. So, and this helps later on as well when you're reviewing, you're like, what do I pick up first? What can I leave? So obviously put weightage on um, the systems that are highly asked on. So this is one thing. Now you come to resources. I know there are a lot, and you get really confused what I'm supposed to do. Some people were saying that I've heard that BNB is like a no question. BNB is a very good resource, but I feel like it's kind of traditional now. I will come to that in a bit. But basically, your cores, the main thing that you should keep your base on is UFAP. I don't know if you guys have heard this mnemonic or not, but UWorld, first aid, and Pathoma. These were the main things that I used during my preparation, especially early on because you're so lost. You're like, is this enough? What am I supposed to do for this? And so anytime I'd have a question, like I'd be confused on a topic, I would first open up its UWorld question and see if I can learn something from that. And then I would review from first aid. And if it was patho, then I would definitely complete the Pathoma videos and the book, especially early on in preparation. I will come towards year-wise, but these are your cores, basically. They really help build your foundation, and it will make it very easy for you later on in preparation. Additional resources are BNB, Bootcamp, Sketchy, Mailman. I found out about Mailman a little later on as well. He's basically a guy who gives tips and tricks, and he has like specific PDFs for each system. Then Conrad Fisher's 100 Concepts for Ethics. This really helped me build my so I say this to everyone that our mindsets are not in alignment with the West, right? So especially I saw this in ethics, like some questions I would really think that, this is the answer, but it would turn out otherwise, and I'd be like, okay, that doesn't make sense to me, but that is how they think. So you need to train your mind a little bit to their mindset. So his 100 concepts really helped with that. Like I started from the beginning, I completed the whole PDF, and then it kind of gave me the idea on what lines I should be thinking on. Then we've got Dirty Medicine. This was really good for biochem. Kaplan, I did use, as I said, I started from first year. So during that time, it was still kind of relevant. So I used it for biochemistry. He had like 4 hour long videos, and they were very difficult to watch. But I would spend my no, I wouldn't spend my weekend, but I would spend like 2 hours of it and just complete the video because biochem was my weakness. I did not enjoy biochem at all. And then later on, Kaplan came in for pharma as well. That lecturers' videos were much shorter, so they were a lot easier to watch, and it did help with catching up with the top of the subject. Then we've got Randy Neal's YouTube playlist. This is for biostatistics. He has like I think 30 videos in his playlist. You just watch all of them. It's again, he just walks you through the whole biostats, and that's all you need to know for the step. Some people have not used it, and they still like because biostats is for my exam, I guess they were like 3, 4 questions, and the calculation ones I did not have time to solve them. So I mean, you should cover all your bases, definitely, but don't stress too much about it. So, as a first and second year students, how what would I tell you? Again, use your resources more directed for step one. Always cover the FA section before the module exam. FA is your core, right? The more times you cover it, I think it's better the best because there are literally lines where you're like, I didn't see this before, even though I've read it. And this happens till the end of your preparation. Like, I do a UWorld question, I'd be like, I didn't see that in FA, and then open FA and it's like right there. So FA is definitely not a course book. A lot of people think that, okay, if I read FA like a story or um like a basically a normal course book, then that's enough. It's actually a review book. So you will go back to FA constantly. That's the whole point of it. You don't just read it and be like, I'm done with it. So as many times as you can do it, cover the FA. For example, if you're doing CVS, cover the FA for CVS before the module exams. There'll be stuff from there that will come in your exam. Strengthen your basics these first 2 years. Stay hard-headed. You can easily lose focus in first year. Because as I said, not everyone starts early, and that's okay. I was just the type of person who had that mindset, but a lot of people are figuring out their studies during that year. Some people will open up Guyton, some people will open up BRS, some people, everyone has their way of studying, right? So when you have a direction, it's easier for you to stay focused. So, if someone else is not doing what you're doing, that's completely okay. Everyone has a different pace, everyone has a different style. Um, just do what's best for you. And if you can start patho by like second year, like around end of second year before you take it in third year, it'll save you prep time later. Personally, patho was a little difficult for me in the beginning. It took me a good 3, 4 months to get a hang of the subject. So I think that did slow me down a little bit, and I would advise that you start early on. Like just start watching Pathoma. If you have some time in second year, if you're doing, let's say, Respo, try to open up a little bit of the videos or the content from Pathoma. It will help you for sure. Stay on track according to university and follow study guide. You don't need to be ahead. Whatever the university is following, just follow that. their module system. Um, During these 2 years, it's okay, and follow the study guide. Do cross-check your preparation with JSMU's study guide during these years, and cover gaps where needed, but prioritize step resources. For example, I don't. I guess Guyton. Yeah, you could say I only use Guyton for the blood module. And these details are in a table later on. You guys can screenshot it. But I'm not going to read it over and over. So, for example, Guyton, I used it for blood module, and I did not use it for anything else in physio. I'm more of a short book person, if you guys haven't noticed. But it didn't really affect me. So during prof session, I always had my friend. You'll see her later on in this session. But she was more of a person to cover all grounds. I usually stuck to my resources. So there, whatever was missing, she would tell me, okay, you need to uh, s- study this. You need to open this topic. This is not mentioned in that because she was also doing the same thing as I was during that time. So there will be some things like, especially in foundation, you do need to open up BD Chiracea. You do need to open up, slides and because there will be things that are not in the step exam and they are then. And that makes sense. You're in your first and second year. You need to start building up on the content. So in third year, that is when I got my UWorld. Yes, I did get it very early on. I got the 2-year subscription. Then again, as I told you from first year, I had my mind that I want to give it. So I wanted to guarantee it for myself. So I knew that if I bought the subscription, I'd be more dedicated and I'd be accountable. So when I got UWorld, it was very overwhelming. I was very confused on like, what am I supposed to do with all these questions? I didn't even cover the content. How am I supposed to solve all of this? And uh, like a month in, I was still struggling. And a lot of people in the forums, I've seen that they're like, we don't have a mentor, we don't have anyone to guide us. And I didn't. I had my uncle, but he did not give the USMLE. So I was basically, desperate to find someone who can constantly keep a check on me and to basically guide me throughout. I needed that, right? Especially because in university as well, I didn't find any lecturers, I didn't find any professors, I didn't see anyone who had given the step one. So I asked a lot of people. There are some bloggers as well who offered mentorship, not the expensive ones. I did not go for those. But after speaking to one of them, she told me to break down your UWorld blocks. So I was like, oh, okay, I don't need to do all the subjects and all the systems at once. So the way I did it was system-wise and subject-wise, both at the same time. So what does that mean? Let's say in second year, I only have anatomy, physio, and biochem, right? So if I'm on Respo, then I'm going to click that system, and then I'm going to choose anatomy, embryo, histo also comes in, physio, biochem, and microbiology because you don't really need to study. Like you don't need a professor for that, right? You don't need a background for it. So I ticked all of these and then I would solve those questions only. So it could be like if the system had like 150 questions, these would probably be around like 25 to 30 questions. So I would complete those first so that I got my basics covered. And then after I'd complete those questions, and again, I would click Respo module again, and then I would click pathology and pathophysiology if it's in there. And sometimes I wouldn't do pathophysiology, just patho. I would recommend you leave pathophysiology because that can help later on when you're doing random. Some pathophysiology questions will be integrated in your block, and that will basically review what you had done before. So after that, you do patho, and then once you're done with the pathology questions, then you tick pharma, and you do pharma questions. So that way, UWorld is less taunting and um, it's easier to solve that way, especially early on, and especially if you're starting it in third year. If you were in fourth and fifth year, I'd probably guide you in another way. But I think I saw a lot of second years here and third years. So this is the approach that really helped me instead of doing the whole thing at once. And then you start small. You don't need to start from 40 questions. 40 questions a whole block, right? So start with 10 and then you feel like, okay, I can get this. Then start with 20, then go on to 30 and then go to 40. You should aim to be doing 40 questions early because that's a full block, right? And you need to get to a point where you are simulating the exam. So this can take you, it took me around 3 months, you could say 3 to 4 months to reach a full question, like full 40 block. But it's okay if it takes you longer. There is no right or wrong way to do UWorld. Everyone does it differently. And like I spoke to so many people. I was like, how do you do UWorld? How do you do? Everyone had a different way. And some of them worked, some of them didn't. But this helped me the most. So if you can try this out, if you're struggling with UWorld at this point, do give it a try. It helped me. And track your time. I know if you're doing it on tutor mode, it's not timed, but always look at the timer. For example, if you're at question 20, you should be around 2021. Take a minute maximum per question. A full block should not take more than an hour. I think in real it's like 1 hour, 15 minutes for 40 questions, but stick to an hour because you need to have some leeway, right? And divide your system in days for covering content and solving questions. What do I mean by this? Um, so let's say I take up neuro. Neuro was a very long system. What I did was for example, I would see, okay, what do I need to cover? How many UWorld questions are there? How many videos do I need to see? And according to that, I would gauge how many days I need for it. Let's say Neuro needs 20 days, okay? And the content was quite a lot. So I would take 7 days to watch all the videos, to cover FA at least once, and to basically cover any content that I would need to solve a question. And then I would use the rest of the days to cover the UWorld questions. I would definitely prioritize doing the UWorld question over covering content. If you feel like you're spending like 15 days and just covering content, I would suggest you just leave it and you start your UWorld questions. The earlier you start questions, the better you remember things because I mean, it's tried and tested on, it's well researched on that active learning is definitely better than passive. So try to use that and solve questions and learn from that and try this approach. And do let me know. I'm always curious if it does help people or not. So yeah, this is for UWorld. So prioritize UWorld over anything. And I personally didn't follow JSMU guidelines from third year on. Mainly I didn't have time, you could say. But I felt like whatever I was covering from UWorld was enough for JSMU. So I didn't. My friend, you'll see her in a little bit too. I keep repeating that. I just wanted to be a little surprised. She constantly like checked up on me on what things I was missing out on. She was very scared that I wasn't preparing well or I didn't cover everything. So she would send me screenshots consistently that this is including, this is not. That's why she'll be able to tell you guys what's in prof and what's in step prep because she did both. Um, and Pathoma should be completed this year or maximum by the end of study break. I think there were some modules that weren't in third year. There were like maybe two that were left, two, three, I think. So I covered that in the study break. So I completed Pathoma by this time. And sketchy micro as well. So there's sketchy micro for bacteria, viruses, and parasites and all, right? So they're short, they're fun to watch, and at least watch them once so that you can just be doing Anki decks instead of watching the videos as well. Then use elective break for step prep unless you are confident you can do both. I am not a multitasker. I cannot do multiple things at once. And when I'm focused on one thing, I have to complete it. So I did not use any of my elective breaks or any break to do anything else. I, you know, dedicated those times for UWorld and for step preparation. But if you can do both, that's definitely good because later on you would most likely feel like you lost time because after your step exam you're like where did all that time go, right? So definitely do both if you can. And still give awards in classes in third year. Don't ditch them. Still attend them. I know they're a nuisance and you feel like you're not learning, but if you are consciously trying to get out uh, information or learn something from classes and wards, you will learn something. So if you're active in classes, if you're active in wards, you will ask more questions. And the people teaching us are doctors themselves. They have more experience than we do. They can give you something, right? And honestly, th those tips really stick with you throughout because um, it's their experience, it's a real life situation, and at the end of the day, that's the doctor that we're going to. That's the type of, we're becoming doctors. We're not becoming PhD students, and we're not. I mean, yeah, you can end up going in teaching, but physical practice is important, I feel. Do not get disheartened by your scores. Keep telling yourself that this is a learning tool. Your scores do not gauge your performance. So I was talking to someone about this as well, and they were like, some people start out with like good UWorld scores, and at that point I was confused. I was like, how are they scoring so well? I'm like getting in like 20s and 30s in the beginning, and I was like, this feels terrible. And other people are like, oh, we're getting in our 50s and 60s, and I'm like, how? It's because of the way I was doing it. So how I broke it down, I wouldn't be able to score that high that way. Whereas if you're doing it in a different way, I guess you would see higher scores. But I constantly told myself that this is not an assessment. This is not a test for me. This is for myself. And I was always honest with them. And I never, it does affect you definitely. Like I would joke around that my year old score is my mood. So if I'd get like a good 45, 50%, I'd have a good day and I'd be happy. And then a day where I'd get like a 20 or something and I'd be like, yeah, I know, this is annoying. Like I'd have a bad day basically. But keep telling yourself that this is the process and you're learning. This is not an assessment for you. And have a timeline so in third year, I feel like you should have an idea when you want to attempt the exam because it give you more clarity. It'll give you a direction. Like if I'm in third year and I'd be like, oh, I think I'll give it end of fifth year. And then you're in like mid fourth year and you're like, oh, I don't have enough time. So don't put yourself in a situation like that. Always have a timeline for when you gave it. When I was in first year, I planned to give it mid third year. Then when I came in third year, I was like, I can't give it this year. Then I switched to mid fourth year. And then when I came to mid fourth year, I was like, no, I need to give it more time. And I ended up giving it at the end of fourth year. So if you have a timeline you're working on, you'll eventually do it before your deadline, right? So third years, please have a timeline. At this point, it's okay for a first and second year not to know, but I feel like in third year you should. And at this point, to get yourself a little into the process, get your identification number, give that 100 and something dollars, put in some accountability at this point so you're keeping yourself in line. Because when everything's up in the air, you are more likely not to meet your expectations, to be honest. That's my experience. Okay, so this is a table that you guys can take a screenshot of, and I guess Saad can also share it for you guys. These are the resources that I used, more directed towards step one. And this is for first and second year. I'm going to give a minute. Someone's saying something on, okay, you'll share it on the group. Okay, great. Um, what's the next? This is for third and fourth year. I did add on boot camp and UWorld at this point. And as you could tell, they're short books. I'm sorry for people who use course books. I did not. They're very difficult for me to read. Except for you can see here Levinson for basics and explanation. I guess it was the first three chapters. Okay, this is it for resources, important notes. So later on in preparation, I do recommend Mailman, his question banks and PDFs, but the most thing that really helped me was in Hemonc, because everything looks the same. All anemias look the same to me, all thalassemias. I had I had a lot of trouble differentiating between all of them. And very late, found this out. And when I started watching his question banks from YouTube, I was like, wow, this is great. He literally gives you how to approach a question for HEMONC because they'll give you the whole CBC and expect you to know everything just by fatigue, right? So the way to approach a heme question is kind of different, I feel, and Mailman really helped with that. So if you're struggling with heme definitely use his question banks to get yourself thinking the way that he did. When studying for locomotor, visualize. A lot of students I saw when they were studying for locomotor, they'd have their textbook, for example, maybe like Grey's Anatomy, even though Grey's Anatomy does have pictures, but they'd be reading the pathway for a nerve, or they'd be reading the muscle names in a of the thigh muscles, or they'd be rectifying it, and I'm not sure how long they would remember it, like even after their profs, but I remembered mine to a good extent, I feel, when I visualized it. So I mainly used Teach Me Anatomy. And when I was reading Teach Me Anatomy, I'd open up the diagram from Netters. Netters was really good. And then I would like look at it, like, okay, if this is the quadriceps femoris, where is it on the human body? I'd look at the shape of the muscle and all, and where is it its insertion, where is it its origin, right? So when I visualized it, I didn't even have to memorize the insertion and origin because I could see the image. Okay, that tendon is going and attaching on the tubercle, right? So if that is being pulled, okay, it can do extension, or it's for flexion, right? So locomotor, everyone feels like you just need to memorize everything, but you need to visualize everything. And that way you will remember it for a very long time. And that's the whole point. It's very relevant. They do ask such stuff in step exams. Like they don't ask exactly where's the origin insertion, but you should already know it to be able to effectively answer a question. Look for mnemonics to help with confusing content. Don't open a mnemonic for everything, only for stuff that you feel like you can't memorize. For example, like for the bones in the hand, let's say, I couldn't memorize all of them, so I needed a mnemonic for that. So don't pick it up for everything, but it does help for content that you're finding a little tricky. And same thing with renal. Renal can be a little tricky. I like to draw a lot in this module, so I would draw the nephron and I would put in, okay, what drug acts on what section of the nephron, or what does this part of the nephron, what's its function like in physiology. So that helped a lot. Renal was like at the end of the year, and we like went through it so fast. I guess we didn't have time, and I struggled in that. So if you draw in this module, I think it will help you. And avoid rote memorization so that you can rely on your long-term memory along the years. Again, I started my prep very early on, so I was more susceptible to forgetting. So I didn't really memorize anything because I knew that I'm not going to remember it 2 years from now. So I mainly understood things. I mainly tried to build my concepts. And then later on in third and fourth year, it helped me and it was easier to go through again and consolidate. I didn't know this until it happened with me, but your third year prof is more similar to step one than your fourth year. Fourth year is more clinically oriented. Third year is your basic sciences, and that's what step one tests you on your basics. So if you can give it by that time, it would really align with your university. But even beginning of fourth year, mid fourth year is okay. That's fine. Try to solidify your biochemistry in these years, which I mean first and second year, because later on, I mean, it's not a huge topic, a huge subject, but they do ask you from there, and you don't want to waste time on it. You don't want to focus on a small topic than other big things like CVS and stuff. So if you can get your basics in general during your foundation years, your first and second years, then it'll help you. Another big question, B&B or boot camp. I found out about boot camp pretty late. I wish I had known earlier, but I did cover everything for B&B, and what I found most helpful was B&B Neuro. Um, I tried watching it from boot camp, but I don't know. B&B helped me more, especially the rules of fours and his pharma. It's really well aligned with UWorld and step one, of course. So if you can do that from B&B and the rest from boot camp, I think it'll be fine. Because B&B cardio, I think I watched it like twice. I didn't understand cardio even after that. But when I, saw that there's boot camp, then I opened that up and it really helped my concepts. He gave a lot of nice tips and tricks for it too. So BNB is definitely more traditional. A lot of people have used it before. It's tried and tested, and boot camp is relatively newer, but it's very easily understood. And yeah, you're less likely to zone out while watching his videos than you are with BNB. I guess because you can also see the speaker in boot camp and B&B is just like slides. So it's up to you. Both are really good. But I would recommend B&B from sorry, Neuro from B&B. Okay, so the fourth year, the finale, for those planning in fourth year, get your good break after third year profs. You don't want to burn out, and this break is pretty important at this point. And by the time you complete your systems, you'll be done with around 45% or 50% of your world. And so then you have the other half now. So take a break from UWorld questions and cover all subjects and anything that is left. So the subjects, I mean immuno, I mean what were the other subjects? Genetics and those. Let me see, there's a comment here. What do you recommend, B&B or boot camp? Um, let's like later on in preparation, I was like, let me cover some boot camp because I didn't. Maybe it'll help me. But it didn't really make a difference after I had watched B&B. So if I covered B&B Psych and later on if I open up boot camp, it's repetitive. And you don't need to do that. So just pick one resource. I feel like nowadays, with our short attention spans, boot camp. Because it was a lot faster for me, it was a lot more digestible. So do choose boot camp if you feel, but try both. People have different styles and different ways of studying. So try both and then decide. Don't do both, please. Don't watch the whole CVS and then watch the whole of boot camp and be like, okay, I'm satisfied now. No, don't do that. Don't waste your time like that. Again, it's an additional resource. It's not a core, so don't give it that importance. just choose one. And then, like I said, BNB Neuro really helped. Okay, where was I? Cover all subjects. So as I was saying subjects, like I meant that you like if you see on your UWorld, they're like subjects and then there's systems. So in subjects, I mean by immunogenetics, and those cores, basically the basic farm, basic patho. Take that like I took around 15 days, but I don't think many people can do it in that time frame. It will take you some time and see how much time you have because if you want to give in fourth year, don't spend 2 months on this. So I feel like 15 to 20 days is enough uh, for people who study like me, I guess. I'm not sure how much other people take for this, but once you've covered the content for all of this, and now you start with all systems and all subjects all together. So like I said, leave pathophysiology. Don't do it early on. Leave it for this time because pathophysiology will really get you revising the patho as well. So if you can do it on time mode at this point, I'd highly suggest you do. I didn't, and I felt like when I came out of the exam, I felt like I should have. So if you can do it at this point, that'd be really good because you could have all of this information and when you're given a time limit, you get anxious and you don't end up reflecting that content in your like in your questions in your assessments, right? So you need to know how to think fast as well. It's not just about knowing the content. So if you can do time mode at this point, that'd be good. Another question, should we still have tutor mode on by this point? I did. I think I did time mode for like when I was completing UWorld, maybe for like 2 weeks. I only did time mode in like for 2 weeks. So it doesn't really affect it as much, but it would help you because anyways, NBMEs are timed, right? So you will be training your mind in that. But if you can start that with from UWorld, I would recommend that. Then when you reach 80% of UWorld given NBME, I'm not sure if everyone knows what an NBME is. They're basically National Board of Medical Examiners. So they are the people who make the step one and step two and step three. And there are many of them available for free online. There are also paid ones. I think they're like $70 each the last time I checked. I'm not sure if it changed or not, but there are free ones available too. So they're 19 to 31. The last seven are most relevant, and that's what most people do. I personally did all of them. Again, I had the time. So, and I'm also the type of person who likes being tested on and learning from that instead of just covering content. I can't rectify stuff. It's very difficult for me. Yeah, so when you reach 80%, at this point, I would recommend you do an NBME. You could choose, I did NBME 19 and I got very disheartened by it. But if you give 26, I feel like 26 is a good one to start with. So, but still continue your UWorld. Some people recommend just stopping at this point. I feel like now it's pass fail. Just do the whole thing. The more that you can do with from UWorld, the better. And you have like a good chunk of questions. So do complete it and book your triad at this point. So let's say I got a 45%, which I did in NBME 19. Should I book my exam? Probably not. But I just wanted to give my step one in fourth year. I was like, I don't care. I just want to give it. Especially because I was preparing for way too long. So, um, I booked my triad at NBME 19. I booked my triad. Yes. At a 45%. I would not recommend it. It's stressful, it's disheartening. But then again, I wanted to hold myself accountable. I wanted to push myself. I wanted some sort of stress so that I would, you know, make do what I had planned, right? So I booked my triad. I at it was this it was like August, I think. And I booked my triad for September, October, November. Yeah, I booked it. Even though in August I got 45%. Okay, it did not make sense for me to book a triad for the next month, September, October, November, but I knew I had profs and I could not extend it to a point where my profs were compromised. So I booked it and I paid all that money. And then I still continued. I continued doing my U-World. I did do my incorrects. Because I was like, I need to see what's going wrong at this point. So I did my incorrects and everything, and then I gave another NBME maybe a month later. I gave it like mid-September, I think, or beginning of September if I gave it in the beginning of August, a month later, basically. And I did see a 10% jump. So those incorrects helped me quite a lot. So if you can do that, if you still have your subscription, try that out. NBMEs are okay. Start using Mailman PDFs for revision. So Mailman, in my experience, they he made these PDFs according to NBMEs. So I would recommend you do it a little later on, like when you've done at least like 4 or 5 NBMEs. Sorry, 5 is the how many usually people do. If you do like two, two NBMEs, and then you can start doing mailman because some people say it inflates your score more. So I think that he gives you the content that NBMEs will be tested. Like you already can tell, okay, NBMEs asks a lot about this, and you want to figure that out yourself first instead of reading his PDFs and already knowing what you're going to be expecting in an NBME. So I didn't feel comfortable doing mailmans before doing enough NBMEs. I said 4 or 5 NBMEs because I started with NBME 19. But if you're doing 25 to 31, then at least do 2 NBMEs and then start mailing PDFs. And you should be done with FA 3 times at this point. How? Number one would be during your modules. Number two would be when you're doing UWorld. And number three would be during your prof time. Okay, so this is 3 times. That's very doable, isn't it? Um, and I mainly mean the systems. So CVS, RESPO, and all of these systems that we have, not the subjects. It's okay if you don't do the subject 3 times at this point. And then keep 2 months. Generally, I feel like a lot of people keep 2 months for dedicated. So keep that in mind when making your timeline and aim to give at least a month and a half for prof prep because the fatigue is real. I feel like that is in a good time for, a break after your step one. I feel like it's a good time to, get your energy back. I got really tired. Um, I actually had booked it for November, the beginning of November, at the end after everything. And then I didn't feel ready. I felt like I could improve my score. So I delayed it. I delayed it 2 weeks and I gave it November 27th. And my profs were December 16, I think. December 16th, yeah. So I was really tired. I could not do much for prof preparation, and I would not recommend you guys do that. I did speak to a lot of seniors. I was like, "Is it possible? Is it possible?" Because I knew this is what I'm gonna have to do, and they're like, "No." But obviously, your step one is a priority at this point, so I had to. And do keep yourself 1.5 months. You don't want to burn out at that point. Okay, let's go next. How many of you guys are asking questions? Am I going too fast or is everything clear? And I'm sorry for speaking all of English. I just realized right now um, I'm more comfortable with English and I can better uh, convey my message that way. Okay, let's move forward. Mailman PDFs that help me most. A lot of people do all of them. I think I actually did all of them, but not all of them helped me as much as these. Where is it? It's okay. How did you handle biostatistics, genetics, and behavioral sciences? Okay, biostatistics, I did first of all, you wrote questions, first aid, and then I went to Randy Neal's YouTube playlist. They're like 30 videos. He walks you through everything from the beginning. He asks you to do questions throughout. So after you're done with those three, I feel like it's enough. Because in the actual exam, there are only like three, four questions, and you don't have time to do any calculations, to be honest. Like there was one question, it was like, I think it was a money question, and I just had to guess it. I didn't even think about it. Genetics, over here I mentioned here, genetics Millman's PDF, because we have not done genetics. I don't think we will even do genetics in med school, especially the way that they want us to know. So I think his PDF is around 200 pages because there's like a page for the question, a page for explanation. That's why they're like 200. So if you do that whole PDF twice, I think it's good. Again, Euro, first aid, then genetics, mailman, PDF. Behavioral sciences, so B&B's videos are good for this. I did not do boot camp videos for this. So you can see both, but I think B&B videos are enough. And again, Euro, first aid, then B&B videos. Can you repeat that part doing FA 3 times before exam? I meant that, for example, CVS, I should be done with it like covering it from FA 3 times before. So how would it be 3 times at this point? I don't mean sitting down and reading it 3 times. I mean covering it. For example, I covered FA CVS once during my UWorld. I covered FA once during my module exams. And then I covered a third time during my modules, like, sorry, end of the year prof exams. So that's like covering FA 3 times. I think I did it 4 to 6 times because I did FA during first and second year. So those are the number of times I meant. That's what I mean. Thank you. You're welcome. I hope this is helping you guys. Okay, now come to arrows. Arrows, oh sorry. Immunology, biochemistry, genetics, arrows, pharma, risk factors. All of these mailman PDFs help me a lot more than the systems, which I mean by respo, endo. Those were good, but mm, I only did it for the sake of covering my grounds. I didn't do it because they were helping me. So if you want to leave those out, that's fine by me. But these, I feel like you should definitely do them. So at this point, if you've covered UWorld first aid for biochem, I think you just need to do mailman PDF at this point. Don't waste time on biochemistry. I repeatedly tell you guys this because a lot of people think that you need to um, know it well because NBMEs do question you on it. You will does ask biochemistry question, but in the real exam, and if you see the specifications, biochemistry is not a big it's not weighted heavily. So at this point, if you're still struggling with biochem, just do Millman's PDF for it. Same thing with immunology, genetics, arrows. Arrows, you should start before you do, I mean, you should do it before an NBMEs because arrows cover your basics. Um, like if this hormone's increase, what about the other hormone? What effect does it have on the body? So once you have these clarified, whenever you see an exam and they give you labs or they give you hormone levels, then you can easily narrow down, like you can tick off answers that you feel like, okay, this is not it. Pharmacology, yeah, there was a mailman pharmacology. Another friend sent it to me. I didn't know it existed. But it really helped me during dedicated because Mailman, again, he simplifies everything and he gives you what you need to know. So if any of you guys want, I'll share it on the group. It's a very nice PDF, and in my exam, they did ask more pharma than I was expecting, like anticoagulants, antifibrinolytics, the heme drugs mainly, and statins and stuff. So if you can cover up pharma from this, then that'd be good. Oh, another thing that was really good in B&B was basic pharm. It's very, very nicely explained in B&B. So note that down. I did not mention it here. I'll also send it on the group. Um, what's it called? That graph, I forgot the graph where they talk about I forgot the graph. It's a very common graph that you use for drugs. So B&B really helps with basic pharma. Someone's asking something. Did you make your own notes? Um, Notes was I made some UWorld flashcards. Did I? Yeah, I did. For my incorrects or something that I felt like I'm going to forget because again, I used UWorld pretty early on, so I needed something to have after my UWorld expiration, even though it did not expire by the time I gave my exam. But it I think it helped. It helped me during classes. It helped me. Yeah, that's another thing I did during classes and awards. I used to take my UWorld flashcards and review them. So, like for example, if there was Cartagena syndrome, you can say so. At the back, I would mention some points that in a question that you would expect to see, and how you would come to a conclusion that this is the pathology. I made notes in that sense, and I also made notes after my NBMEs. There were not that many people who were at this point of preparation, so I'm not going to stress too much about dedicated and NBMEs and all that. But after every NBME, I made my own NBME notes so that when I would review that NBME, I would just go through my notes. Did you use Anking for FA and other sources, or there are other dedicated decks? There is Anking. Um, uh, I did try using it. But it didn't, I wasn't the type of person to do Anki. Like my brother, he's in second year and he really likes Anki. Like he's always doing it. He's always telling me, I did this many cars today, I did this many. This is my streak. And but now he's realizing that he has way too many decks to go through and he does not have that time. So he stopped doing Anki actually. He said it's helpful, but for a person like me, I didn't find it any helpful. Some people like it. It only helped me for micro, to be honest. I guess for people who are rote learners, they would prefer Anki. My brother's that type, so he prefers Anki. But he did come to a conclusion that he doesn't have time for all of this. Recording मिल जाएगी साथ साथ बताएगा ये. Um, Okay, and risk factors. Risk factors, I only did it once. I didn't think it was too important. I don't remember um if it helped me in the exam, but recent test takers say it's important. Time is it? Okay. Okay, dedicated period. So you this is the time where you book the exam date. This is 2 months before. It's a good amount for enough time for you to extend if you want, enough time for you to gauge how much preparation is left. So NVMe every week and review in between. Do not compromise on this, otherwise your timeline will mess up badly. That's how I plan my dedicated, that whatever NBMEs I had left at this point, I would do one every week. I kept it Friday of every week because Friday was when I was at home and the library was closed. So I would do it every Friday, and I did not compromise on it because that was like after you will, that was how I gauged that I'm on track or not. So, and my performance, my whatever I worked on during the week led up to that NBME, and giving that and seeing my score gauged my preparation. So I would not recommend you delay your NBME because your whole timeline will mess up. And then during this time, do one more pass of FA. Take out some time. I did it with a friend. Um, we would read I did it so I did it with a friend early on who was not doing NBMEs, and I did it until I started NBMEs. And then when I started NBMEs, I wanted someone who was also doing NBME so they can see what's in FA, what's in NBME, what's in U World, so like integrate everything while doing FA. So I felt like we were discussing UWorld, we were discussing NBMEs, and we were discussing FA at the same time. So if you can get a person to do that with you, I think that helped quite a lot. I stopped doing this um, a month, a month before my exam. I stopped doing study partners. I stopped discussing. I stopped because this time was for me, I felt like, and I didn't want to rely on someone else's knowledge and think that I've covered something already when it was us reviewing stuff instead. So I think it's important that you do self-study in this time. Do your world incorrects if you still have a subscription? My point earlier, mailman PDFs, and there are also UWSAs that you get with your subscription. Let me see. There's people asking stuff. Okay. Um, is IMD legit? We'll come to that uh during the FAQs. Okay. Out of all UWSAs, three was most helpful. I was saying that UWSAs are assessments from UWorld, so they're not from the board that makes your exam. I did one and I did uh three. I didn't have time to do two. So one wasn't too helpful. It was so different. It's very different from what you're used to. But three, I was talking to a girl before my exam. I think it was like 2 weeks before my exam. And she was like, definitely do UWSA 3 because a lot of concepts repeated from that. And so because of that, I did UWSA 3. I think I only had time to do 3 blocks. So 2 blocks, sorry. UWSAs only have 3 blocks. They're like 120 questions. So I only did 2 blocks, and from those 2 blocks, they were concepts in my exam. So I'm grateful that I did that. I recommend whoever I talk to, I recommend they do UWSA 3. But don't look at your score. UWSA 3, I scored very low in it. It was really disheartening. Again, UWorld does that to you. It's what UWorld is. So UWSA 3, I'd recommend high yield NVMe images. They will use these pictures, but in my exam I didn't have any NVMe picture, like sadly. Work on your weaknesses. This is time to consolidate, not to start from scratch. Don't open up something that you'd have not opened up before unless it's like very highly relevant. Because you want to work on what you already know and use that information. So, I don't recommend you open something new. So just try to work on what you know and what you're weak in, and you should see an increase in your score by doing this. Give new free 120 a week before exam. So what is a free 120? These are from the boards as well. They're on the website, they're online for free, hence the name. What they do is they try to simulate the exam as much as they can. Like you have a tutorial before the exam, so like there's a whole guide, like, okay, this is where the timer is. This is there are two timers, one for the day, one for the block. And then how do you end the block? How do you suspend it? And basically introducing the interface for you. So that is like 15 minutes. So if you do that before the exam, then you can skip that 15 minutes and get a whole hour from for a break. because usually they give you 45 minutes plus 15 minutes for the tutorial. So if you see the tutorial beforehand, which wouldn't make sense if you didn't, but you do it beforehand and you get a whole hour break then. So, and then you got 120 questions that they give you blockwise, or you can do them all together according to how you like. And this gauges your preparation because I felt like the exam was a lot like the new free 120. Everyone asks, is your exam like the NBME or is it like a UWorld? What can you like? Can you tell us a little bit about that? My exam was, I don't know where it came from, but now that I think about it, it was kind of similar to New Free 120, especially the length of the questions. If you decide to extend your date, everyone does at this point. Majority of people do. So less than 2 weeks of a difference will do you no good. Um, I would definitely not recommend extending just a week because that week is you trying to handle your anxiety levels. That's you trying to cover up highly yield stuff. And if you just add yourself another week, that's just another week of that. But if you add 2 more weeks, then you give yourself a bit of a time frame that you can relax and you can work a little more. So if you plan on doing extending less than a week, don't waste your money, to be honest. It costs you like $100 to do it at that point. So make it worthwhile. Mm, next, so practical tips. Have a support system. It's a very long, tiring journey, very emotional. You need someone for you. Either it's your family, it's your friend, or you go to the gym, or just some way to keep yourself sane, to be honest. It's uh, it's a very tough situation that you're in. So, but take it lightly, take it one step at a time. Work on yourself and talk to people who have passed the exam. That really helped. Whenever I talk to someone who gave the step one, I used to feel really relieved after talking to them because I knew that they understood what I was going through. Um, and they really helped me. And attend sessions, this session or any other session. Just get yourself into the loop a little bit. Again, I didn't have a mentor like I told you. So in first and second year, I attended events like there's this IMG event. I attended that. Even though it's like that's more of a socializing event, but it helped me involve myself in a community who is wanting to do the same thing as you and online webinars. And I still attend step one. Like I attended a step one webinar like maybe a month ago, even though I've already passed my exam. But I did it just to see if there were any changes or anything. So at the end of it, I did give it to my brother. I was like, you attend this now. But get yourself into the loop. Don't try to do everything on your own because things are constantly changing. New resources are coming up, and just like the IMD and traditional ways are changing. So, keep yourself involved in the community and make realistic goals. A lot of people they say that I want to do all of this stuff, and I look at their goals and I'm like, you can't do this in a week. You can't do this in a month. How are you giving yourself this deadline? So make goals that you can achieve because when you don't achieve goals, that is detrimental to your motivation. If you have a whole list and you're not able to complete it, then in your mind you're like, I wasn't able to do this, I wasn't able to do this, and then it just gives you some negative energy. So always keep practical goals, like keep it something that you can do, right? If you have a wedding that day and you have like this whole list of things that you need to do, then go easy. Put two, three on your list instead of five because you know you can't do it. So don't put it in there and affect your energy. So another question, let's see, when did you register for ECFMG? I registered, I mentioned in the slides. I did it in third year. Yeah, I did it in third year. Like I said, I did it because I wanted to keep myself accountable. When there's money going in, then you feel it. Because it's not your money, it's your dad's or from wherever you're getting it, and you feel like you owe it to them. Even though they're your parents and stuff, but you want to make them proud, right? So make realistic goals, keep monthly, weekly, and daily tasks. So that's what I used to do. I had a calendar and I'd be like, okay, I want to do this whole month. And then when the week started, I'd have my week goals. And then I'd have my daily tasks. Like every day I'd come, or the night before, the morning of, I'd make a list. I need to do all of these. And then just ticking those off. Like I did it on paper, just ticking those off. Or I used to have like post-its on my desk. Just that satisfaction that you get when you complete a task and just put that line on there, that really like gives you the satisfaction that okay, I'm getting somewhere, you know? So that's one trick that I would tell you. Keep a day to cover up any pending tasks. Oh, this was so important because you do a whole week and then one day you're not able to do one task and then that goes for the next day and then you're not able to do it that day, then it goes the next day. And then by the end of the week you should be doing everything that you had planned, right? Like I told you, there's a monthly, weekly, and daily task. So when that extra day would help me cover up any of the gaps that I had that week. So if let's say one day you fell sick, right? That's not in your control. So what are you supposed to do? It's okay. Take it easy. You have a day at the end of the week to cover that. So that day was really important for me. And that was also a day where I could relax a little bit, but also get things done at the same time because some tasks were still pending. Consistency over intensity. What do I mean by that? Every day, make sure you do something. Don't leave a day that you completely don't like you waste, right? Especially like early on when you don't have deadlines coming up, right? So like for example, one day I just wasn't feeling it, right? I didn't feel like studying. So I would um watch a sketchy video or I would just watch videos that day. I didn't do any reading that day because it takes more brain power for that, right? Or if I was doing 10 questions of UWorld, then I'd do 10 questions, but I wouldn't review them. I'd be okay, I'll review it later. Or I'd do 5 questions of UWorld instead. But I still did something so that I didn't lose track, right? So it's always like some people like to like do days that are so intense. They like study like 10 to 12 hours that day and get so much done. They're so happy with themselves. The next day they're like, oh my God, I can't do anything. So, you know, if you do little by little, at the end it's going to all gather up and give you a big you would cover up quite a lot by the end, right? Whereas if you do like pounds of like intense studies here and there, I don't think you would do as much. Integration over segregation. What do I mean? Always try to integrate your step one preparation with university. Don't separate it. There's no point. Think of it like killing two birds with one stone. Like do both at the same time. Think of it as one thing. Like step one prep will cover your university stuff, definitely, because this exam is, I feel like it's so it builds you so much, your knowledge, character in yourself as well, that to be honest, I feel like it says my connections on are Saad, can you guys hear me? Hello. Yes, okay. I was saying that if you do step one preparation, you are automatically covering up for JSMU. Later in early years, you might have to cover extra things, but from third year, fourth year clinicals come in, so there are a few things, but your basics are there. Like you can go in a test and be able to pass. That's what I saw in myself, that even word tests after my step one. I wouldn't prepare for war tests and I'd still pass and I'd still get really good grades. Sometimes I'd get best from everyone because you have that core, you have those basics that you need to apply. So you just apply that. I felt like that's is a lot better than memorizing things and stuff and just using my long-term memory. So post step is great. It's all worth it. And I'm so excited for you guys to get that same feeling because it's really, really rewarding, to be honest. So killing sleep doesn't help you in the long run. Don't think that sleeping 4 hours and waking up early and solving this many questions by 10 a.m. is gonna get you somewhere because to affect brain your energy, you're going to crash one day, you're more susceptible to burnout. So take care of yourself. If you want to sleep 10 to 12 hours, that's okay. You still have to study, right? So don't kill your sleep. Don't count on it. Everyone's the best. Don't compare. A lot of people just it's difficult not to. I've caught myself comparing myself to other people as well, especially in my NBME scores. I was like, though that person's getting an 80s and 7 6, 7 hours for food, take their breaks to some NBME. So more is going to be different, especially if you're right or if you're doing well. Like there's so many things that can affect your grade. So don't let it get to you. Yes, you do need to have at least 65% in your NBMEs, but if you're not scoring that much, it's okay. You know where you stand in preparation. So you don't have to compare yourself. You can take other people's advices, you can take some tips and tricks from them, but don't compare yourself to them because, you know, the way that they do things is not necessarily the way that you do. Then these are some frequently asked questions I saw in the forums. If you guys did some in the morning, I didn't see that. But are there any specific WhatsApp groups that bring together all the students preparing for step one where guidance is provided? Yes, there is PIMG, Project IMG. Uh, they're really helpful people. It helped me quite a lot. Any question you had, anyone, like there'd always be someone who would be there to help you out, even for resources like B&B videos, boot camp videos, sketchy videos, NBMEs, or just any resource, anywhere you'd find a hurdle, there's always be someone on there to help you out. And they're ones who are preparing for it or have already given it. Yes, Project IMG. Um, is there I don't know any other group. I found this the most helpful and I stuck to it. What's the suitable time to give the exam? Everyone has a different timeline, but I feel according to our university, before your third year prof. Always give yourself some time for profs because they last for like a month and a half. So always aim for before prof than after because after prof you're tired and it takes you some time to get back into studies. So before profs are good. Before your fourth year prof, before your fifth year prof, before your third year prof. But before third year, I feel like that's too early unless you're smart enough to do it and you're that dedicated. So I think that's the best time. The IMD app where I personally have not used IMD. I did not know about it until my friends mentioned it. I know a friend who uses it who hasn't done the exam yet, but she says that you just don't know your progress on it. And I attended a session, like I mentioned earlier. There was this JSMU student who used the IMD and he passed giving the step one. So that's all I know about it. Definitely do your own research and see how legit it is and talk to people who have used it and who have also passed. Don't just talk to people who have used the app and say, oh, it's very nice and it's not. Ask people who have passed the exam using this preparation. Okay, because UWorld is very standard, everyone uses it, highly reliable. You can see your progress. I personally really like UWorld. Um, I would not be comfortable using IMD. It's just the way I am. I don't trust easily. So, Muhammad's tab, that's a very long question. I'll read it in a minute after I'm done with these. How doable is the exam? Do they provide you with enough time, or should we practice our time management skill? The exam is very much doable, even though you're like, oh my God, it's 8 hours long. How is that possible? Don't you get tired? It literally goes by a breeze. You do not know where the time goes, and it's very much doable. Don't worry about that. Do they provide you with enough time, or should we practice? Definitely practice your time management, especially because the question stems are so much longer than in NBME. They're like 10 to 12. Sometimes there are even 20 liners, and I didn't have time to go through all of that. Like some blocks, I had like 5 questions left and I didn't have time to read them. I had 5 questions and I had 3 minutes left. Okay, how was I supposed to do that? So for this, what I used to do, if I didn't have time, I'd read the last question and then I'd read the question answers, go a little bit here and there in the question to get an idea, and I'd answer it. That's how I did those last 5 questions because I did not have time. So you should definitely, especially ethics questions are so long. But with ethics, what I did was because you can already tell from the answers which ones can be completely wrong. So you can narrow down two from that. And then the other two, you just quickly look at the question a little bit and then answer it. A subject topic that people take lightly but shouldn't, ethics. Don't take it lightly. Train yourself for those questions. Um, they they are it's quite a lot of questions that they ask on the actual exam. Did Emily prep affect JSMU GPA? Let me see the chat. Can you provide a link for the WhatsApp group? Okay, I think you have to get permission. I will check. There has been new changes in USMLE ECNG registration. Others, can you please tell me, should it impact giving step one before graduation? When do you need to get competitive? Okay, I'll come to these after these frequently asked questions. Um, mm, did it affect my GPA? I don't think step one preparation affected my GPA. My GPA was pretty good in first and second year. In third year, it did drop because I had some family stuff going on in third year, so it was negatively impacted. But my fourth year when I only had like 15 days and I got better than my third year. So I don't think it affects your GPA. No. For someone who haven't started preparing yet, what is the estimated time and what are the resources that we as a UMDC related background should focus on? I think I already answered this. Um, Estimated time, like pre-dedicated 46 months, dedicated is 2 months, so 8 months, but it can take you a year. Okay, take you a year and a half. It depends on you. How did you start and what systems did you start with? I started, I think I mentioned all this. Definitely start with a system that is easy. Don't pick up CVS first. It's difficult. Don't pick up Neuro. Start with like Respo, Renal, Repro. Start with those so that you don't get demotivated. Exam experience. I will give that to the guest speaker. Um, if you guys want my exam experience, I can tell you later on, but the most recent test taker is here and she will come to that. How she tackled the burnout support system. I spent a lot of, when I would have a bad day, I'd take some time out and spend time with my family. And my grandfather was a big role in this. He passed away before my step one. And honestly, he was the main person who kept me going, who really, gave me the confidence, to be honest. His last words to me were that no risk, no gain. So that just, kept me going after he passed away. And it's always important to have someone for you during this time, and they help you out with burnout, they help you out with clarification, they help you out with everything. And if you need some physical activity, get that in, go for a jog, go for a walk. I used to go for walks actually with my grandfather whenever he'd be like, come on, you need to go outside. So we'd go for walks and take your phone out. My phone really affects my thinking. So whenever I feel like everything is getting too much, I put my phone away for the whole day, even though my friends are constantly trying to reach me. But I needed that. I needed to be away from social. I deleted my social media as well. I deleted my Instagram, not because I know I was depressed or anything, but because there's so much stimulation from it, you know, it's like what are other people doing? People enjoying their time and I'm just in my library. But that helped with my burnout as well. There are some tips and tricks. But mainly is you need to take care of yourself a lot during this time. What's your expected plan timeline for step one till your match? Um, there are more questions coming in. We'll come to that. I guess I'll read these questions with our guest speaker when the Q&A starts, because I feel like all your questions are coming here now. Um, I will read those in a bit. What's your expected plan timeline for step one till your match? So my timeline, I can tell you. I inshallah plan to okay, so first step one. Step one I gave end of fourth year. Then I wanna give my step two soon. Let's see. I'm not too sure when exactly because I had a busy month, 2 months. Match, give it after, like obviously at match applications close every September. So you need to plan according to every September because then in July is when the application opens, September is when they close, March is when you get your match. So basically September of every year you need to. So I'm going to aim for next September, inshallah. Any idea about Huskies? Again, I told you guys I cannot multitask, so I didn't really focus on Huskies. Huskies are United States clinical experience. Yeah. Um, basically electives in the US. So there are different ways. Our university is not VSLO. So that's basically an agreement between universities in which they allow your students to go to other universities to get some experience. So for us, it's a little more difficult. So you have to apply directly on their websites. They have some applications, or you directly contact doctors and see, basically cold emailing. I personally have applied directly in a hospital. So if I have a positive experience in that, I'll definitely share it with you guys. Just pray that I get it. But they are expensive. Keep that in mind. They're like 3,000 something dollars if you go for directly from the application portal. And I know Cleveland's is just $400 for the application. They don't take um, after you get accepted. So you can save a lot of money in that. How to balance, so I can't really speak much about this, but when I do have that experience, I will definitely share with you guys. How to balance exam prep and other commitments together. Um, hmm. So yeah, you do need to work with them alongside. I would always let's say there were many instances where there were very close families, weddings going on, and they were like our house would be for like 25 to 30 people, and I'd have to prepare for my exam during those days. But number one, I joined a library. That was one of my grandfather's major things. He's like, you cannot do this without joining a library. You need to go to one. So even though I wasn't much of a library person, the library really helped me because I felt like I would go and that would be my safe spot. I could manage my time there. Everything was in my control there. There wasn't anything that, so no one's asking me to make them chai, no one's asking me to help them out with something, or no one's calling me. I can literally, I can't, I like, I would be, like, I didn't have to answer a phone call because you can't inside a library. So I'd just text them and be like, I'm in the library. It can be delayed, like they can contact me later. So a library is important, I feel. Number two, your sleep, other commitments. I during dedicated, I isolated myself. Um, Not to the people at home, but I said no to family gatherings. I said no to outings. I said no to a lot of things. For dedicated. Pre-dedicated, I would go out when I'd feel like I needed the change. But it would just be like for like 30 minutes maybe. I'd go get an ice cream, I'd go get a coffee, or I'd spend some time with my mom. It was important to recharge yourself when times were getting really tough. Just talking to someone also helps. I'm not much of a talker, so I usually liked having quiet times with someone. So, but yeah, when you have big commitments, make tasks, make the same practical tips I gave you. How did you start and what system did you start with? I started with GIT, Respo. Yeah, I started with GIT and Respo. Um, then I had to take some time off because of profs, and then I started again and I continued with like Reaper. There's no right or wrong way, but don't start with systems that are difficult. Common struggles, recalling information. The more you repeat things, the more you'll remember. Don't worry about rectifying stuff because once you have that knowledge, application of it is easy. Completing enough UWorld questions with university commitments and timings. So when I was going to university and doing both alongside, do you plan to go? What library did you go to? I went to Defense Library. It's called Innovista now. I heard they're shutting it down. I don't know the recent update. I'll ask my friends. Do you plan to go for electives? Yes, they're important. At least one elective. Maybe I can get um 2, 3 LORs at one visit. Let's see, inshallah. Please pray for me. The longer questions, my friend and I will do it. Completing enough. So I used to go to university in the morning on time, attend classes, go to wards, and then afterwards, I think I skipped tutorials. Some tutorials I would attend, but they're like 2 hours long, and half the time you're just waiting for the professor. So I used to go directly to the library from there because I knew if I came home, I would not be able to do my tasks for the day. So go to a library right after, go to somewhere or stay in the university's library, just somewhere where you're not yeah, you're not asked for. So I used to come home around 5, 6 p.m. So let's say 3 hours of UWorld. I used to be able to complete my questions and revision. I would either do it the next day. This was very early on. Um, After that, and for university, I used to take 5, 6 days for modular exams. I used to study all according to step one, the last 5, 6 days, sometimes even less. I would prepare for the modular exam if it were different. Timings wise, I mentioned it. And later on, there's also the UWorld app. The UWorld app really helps. Like you could just sit down in class and solve questions, even though you do need a lot of attention uh, to a UWorld question. So that is not that recommended that you do it during class or anything. Um, Lack of consistency and definite attention. Again, consistency comes where you need to have practical goals for every day and do something every day. Don't leave a day without doing anything. Definite attention. If you need some time to freshen up, take it. You know, even if you're like so tired and stuff and you're still not done and you have so much left, going out to get a cup of coffee or just eating ice cream or just 15 minutes of going out of the room and talking to someone or just going on your phone. Even though I felt like going on your phone didn't help because there's constant stimulation from it, but it's okay. You have 24 hours in a day and I don't know how many minutes. You have enough time in the day to take a break, so take it. Too many resources. I already told you there's cores and then there's additionals. So stick to those. If there are any new resources, make sure they're tried and tested. Before we go any from doing electives. Okay, we'll come to these with the guest speaker now. We are coming to okay. Where is this? Right? Okay, our guest speaker is Maha Khan. I hope you haven't slept. Are you still here? Um,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, she's my friend since first year, very good friend. I'm very big on saying best friend. She calls me her best friend, so I'll be her best friend. But I don't know if you guys have seen me in university, but she's always there when I am. And we started our preparation together. We did a lot of preparation alongside, obviously, our timelines are different. So she gave it very recently. She will speak about it herself. Maha, you can take over.
Assalamu alaikum. As Nuha introduced me, I'm Maha Khan from UMDC final year, and I was recently tested on 1st of August, and I just got my result 3-4 days ago. So yeah, and I must say Noha was a great support system, my personal mentor, as she was today for all of you, and she answered great questions, not like me. And thank you. And I'm going to be very candid. I'm going to speak about I'm not going to speak about test material I use because it's all what Nuha used. I was in constant loop with her. I'll talk more about my exam experience, the difficulties I found, what things I would have done differently. So my prep material, as I told, was more or less same as Nuha's. I registered for ECFMG on February 2024. And I got my UWord subscription for a year in March 2024. I had to get 2 months extra because I spent a lot of time for prof preparation. And one thing I'd like to say, don't compare yourself with anyone. तो ये मुझे नोहा ने बताया था कि कंपैरिजन नहीं करना बिकॉज आई यूज टू कंपेयर एवरीथिंग कोई 10 घंटे पढ़ रहा है कोई 12 घंटे पढ़ रहा है कोई 6 घंटे पढ़ रहा है एंड आई वुड स्टडी लाइक फॉर 8 आवर्स अ डे एंड आई बी लाइक मैं कैसे पास होंगी ये बंदा तो 12 घंटे पढ़ता है सो यू नीड टू हैव कॉन्फिडेंस इन योर सेल्फ द अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम डजेंट मैटर आई एम सेइंग दिस ऑल नाउ आफ्टर पासिंग बट टिल आई गॉट माई रिजल्ट आई वॉज वेरी कंफ्यूज कि मैंने सही किया या नहीं किया एंड दैट्स आई गेस प्रीटी नॉर्मल टू फील दैट वे अच्छा नोट्स बनाने की बात आती है आई नेवर मेक नोट्स मैंने स्टेप के लिए बनाए भी बट आई कुडंट रिव्यू दैट तो ये भी अपने ऊपर है इफ यू वांट टू मेक नोट्स यू मेक नोट्स इफ यू डोंट सो डोंट वट एवर वर्क्स फॉर यू एक बहुत ही ज्यादा क्वेश्चन आता है बूट कैंप और बीएनबी में सो आई वॉज ऑल्सो वेरी कंफ्यूज अबाउट इट आई वॉज लुकिंग कि हर कोई बीएनबी कर रहा है बीएनबी कर रहा है एंड मैं जब भी बीएनबी खोलती आई फील सो लॉस्ट आई फील देयर सो मच इंफॉर्मेशन द वीडियोज आर टू लॉन्ग until I discovered boot camp. So I completely switched to boot camp. I guess I barely did neuro from BNB. And as Noha mentioned, BNB की neuro अच्छी है. I did boot camp for the rest of the stuff. And कुछ चीज़ों की तो मैंने वीडियो देखी भी नहीं. Because everyone has this question कि यार सब कर रहे हैं BNB, I should also do BNB. या सब कर रहे हैं boot camp, I should also do boot camp. I was like that too, but I realized that I'm wasting my time. So whichever resource works the best for you. Similar for Anki. सब लोग ज़्यादातर लोग you'll see they do Anki religiously for everything. I don't think I'm that kind of person with commitment के मतलब मैं रोज Anki करूँ. I give time to it every day. So I just did it for sketchy microbiology. That's it. And it really helps. Sketchy microbiology is very helpful. Like even in exam मेरे पास hepatitis का question आया था virus naked है कि नहीं पिक्चर से याद आ रहा होता है कि ओके अगर इंफॉर्मेशन याद नहीं भी है so you remember the picture and you can guess the answer agar if you're not sure about it and I'd say कि NBME scores भी अपने किसी के साथ डिस्कस नहीं करने चाहिए you need to have good NBME scores to be confident but for me my highest score was 63%, which is considered very low लेकिन I was very much exhausted. I thought कि मैंने अब सब कर चुकी हूँ I can't do anything more, so I booked my exam. So वही चीज एग्जाम बार बार डेट बंदा चेंज करने का सोचता है. I was supposed to give it with Noha. Then I was like, I'm gonna give it in March. Then I was like, no, April. Then I finally booked my triad for June, July, and August. I booked a date for 21st July and I ended up giving it on 1st of August. So that's pretty normal, I guess. And you need constant validation. So just get a friend like Noha to, help you throughout, especially the one who has given stuff. And someone who is working along, वो भी अच्छा रहता है. I do had friends जो साथ साथ पढ़ रही होती थी. They helped me a lot. And chat GPT बहुत अच्छी resource है. So in short, don't compare yourself, your study material, your prep time, your pace. Nohan, my pace does not match at all. She is a fast-paced learner and I take time. She said she did she did all the subjects in 15 days. It took me a month to, complete the subjects. It was very difficult for me to, do it in 15 days. But that pressure really helped me to at least do it on 1st of August. नहीं तो मैं और भी आगे चली जाती. मैंने लिखे मैं अपने पास पॉइंट्स. मैंने एनबीए में 25 to 31 किया था. आई स्टार्टेड माई प्रेप February 2024. फिर प्रॉफ से पहले 2 महीने की 1.52 months की मैंने ब्रेक ली थी. देन आई कंटिन्यूड फ्रॉम February 2025. June, July being my dedicated period. And I only did 25 to 31. Noha did, I guess, from 20 to 31, all the NBMEs, which is a good thing, I mean, but I didn't have that much of time. And I started off with the easier one. Like I started off with Respo, and then I went to the difficult ones, along with UWord. And FA is very important. चलो मैं एग्जाम का बताती हूँ. मेरा एग्जाम कैसा था. So, okay, I'm a very anxious personality. I'm very anxious. So I was very scared to even think of giving an exam. But I did it, alhamdulillah. So on my exam day, I was very confused in my first block. I was very scared. मुझे लग रहा था ये क्या है? ये मुझे कुछ आता ही नहीं है. But then I told myself कि, I am here. Anyways, I have to do it, good or bad. करना ही है तो क्यों ना relax होके करें. So after that point, I was pretty much relaxed. मैंने सोचा था कि मैं first और second block करूंगी, फिर break लूंगी. But no, I did my first block, took a 5-minute break, texted my mom, texted Noha, had a granola bar, had some juice, and then with fresh mind, I went to my next block. Very important. पहले block जैसा भी हुआ हो, let that not affect your next block. Forget about it and do the other block with fresh energy. I did it that way, तो मुझे second block comparatively easy लगा. एंड इसी तरह आगे जाते जाते फाइनल ब्लॉक तक मैं थोड़ी ज़्यादा ही रिलैक्स थी कि मेरे पास टाइम कम बच रहा था. एंड लाइक लास्ट में 5 5 minutes होते थे और 7 7 questions एंड आई लाइक कैसे करूँगी ये. बट या सो कमिंग ऑन एग्जाम द विनियट्स आर प्रिटी लॉन्ग. काफ़ी लंबे लंबे क्वेश्चंस होते हैं. यूवर्ड से भी लंबे होते हैं. छोटे क्वेश्चंस मुझे अपने एग्जाम में कम मिले थे. आई फील लाइक देयर वर लॉन्गर स्टेम्स. तो यू नीड टू प्रैक्टिस विद टाइम. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है टाइम के साथ प्रैक्टिस करना. बिकॉज आई हैड ट्रबल विद दैट. अब विनियट्स कैसे थे? यू रियली नीड टू नो हाउ टू फिल्टर आउट इंफॉर्मेशन. यू नीड टू नो हाउ टू लुक फॉर बज वर्ड्स. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. मैंने देखा था क्वेश्चन में सारी पॉजिटिव फाइंडिंग्स भी थी और नेगेटिव फाइंडिंग्स भी थी. एंड यू नीड टू गो थ्रू दैट वेरी क्विकली. जैसे हम लोग हिस्ट्री लेते हैं पेशेंट की अपने वार्ड्स में, जस्ट लाइक दैट उस तरह के भी क्वेश्चन स्टेम्स थे जिसमें नेम, एज, जेंडर, HOPC and everything उस तरह मेंशन थी. and you needed to filter out information. That's too much of information to do in 1 minute. क्योंकि 1 minute is the ideal time to give to each question. इतना टाइम नहीं होता कि आप फ्लैग करें, वापस आके देखें. You just don't have time to review. तो मैं तो फ्लैग भी नहीं कर रही थी questions because लोग क्या करते हैं, फ्लैग करते हैं 10 15 सवाल और फिर बाद में पूछ रहे होते हैं. एवरी ब्लॉक मेरे 20 क्वेश्चन फ्लैग थे. आई हैड 15 क्वेश्चंस फ्लैग. सो दैट्स रियली एग्जाम के बाद आपको बहुत डर लग रहा होता है इस चीज से. तो आई डिडंट फ्लैग क्वेश्चंस बिकॉज फायदा ही नहीं था. आई कुडंट लुक बैक टू देम, सो आई डिडंट डू दैट. अच्छा, एक चीज जो मेरे टेस्ट में बहुत आई थी, आई डोंट थिंक नोहा में इतनी आई थी, बट रिस्क फैक्टर्स. एंड आई डिड नॉट नो मच अबाउट इट. रिस्क फैक्टर्स बहुत ज्यादा आए थे. अच्छा, हमें जनरली पता होता है ठीक है MI है तो स्मोकिंग, डायबिटीज, प्रीवियस MI, ये सारे रिस्क फैक्टर्स हैं. But the questions were like, for example, a 40-year-old female with hypertension, diabetes, smoker, ये सारे risk factors mention किए हुए हैं. And then they're asking um, for the diagnosis you made, what is the most important risk factor? अब I don't know how to prepare for that क्योंकि मुझे नहीं पता था कि एग्जाम में इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, because I don't think NBME में इस तरह के बहुत सारे थे, if I'm right, Noha. इतने नहीं थे NBMEs में इस तरह के questions. So इस तरह questions थे. I did my element PDF. It did help with basic concept जैसे कि okay, I did not know that diabetes is the most important risk factor for MI and not smoking and hypertension. तो वो चीजें मुझे पता चल गई थी, but in exam that was a little not much helpful. तो exam के बाद मैंने क्या सोचा कि how would I have done it differently? So whoever is preparing, I think first aid में जहाँ जहाँ risk factor का word आए, just highlight that and understand, okay, इस condition के लिए ये risk factors हैं, ये gender ज़्यादा appropriate disease है या इस age group में ज़्यादा है, तो ये बहुत important है. And amongst that also try to analyze कि इन सारे risk factors में इस condition के लिए सबसे important risk factor कौन सा है, because they were asking for the most important ones and they mentioned literally all the risk factors for the condition. So I was pretty much confused and it was a great chunk of exam. और ethics भी बहुत होती है, very highly tested. उसके लिए वही जो उन्होंने resources बताई उसी से मेरे में I guess NBME से एक दो ethics के सवाल repeat हुए थे, but not many questions were repeated from NBME. और NBME के I guess एक दो pictures मेरे पास repeat हुई थी. मैंने कुछ points बनाए हुए जो I had to discuss. मैं देख लेती हूँ. Yeah. So if the risk factor is very important, time management very important, vignettes were long, you need to be able to sit for that long. I guess NBMEs help you with that. And as Noha said, you need to be very honest with your NBMEs. लोग बीच बीच में उठ के चले जाते हैं या बीच बीच में देख लेते हैं. You don't have to do that. I guess there are 50 questions in each block and you have 1 hour 15 minutes for that. Just put a timer, simulate exam. ये सब मैं वो बोल रही हूँ जो मुझे नोहा ने बताया है, ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग. तो यू नीड टू सिमुलेट एग्जाम. तो आप बैठे एक ब्लॉक करें, देन टेक अ 5 minute ब्रेक, मेक श्योर यू डू इट इन द टाइम ड्यूरेशन. आई गेस एनबीएमई में हम 30 minutes की ब्रेक लेते हैं, नॉट मोर देन दैट. तो लाइक ओवरऑल, सो यू नीड टू नो हाउ टू डिवाइड योर ब्रेक्स. कब आपका अटेंशन स्पैन खत्म हो रहा है, उस हिसाब से यू नीड टू टेक ब्रेक्स. And first aid के points, first aid is important. First aid is very important. Like मैंने notice किया था exam में जब मैं question कर रही थी, there was one genetic question. I was like, oh okay, ये first aid में mention था. ऐसे भी सवाल थे. I felt paper बहुत मुश्किल था, but you know जब आप पास होते देन यू रियलाइज क्वेश्चन याद आते हैं कि ओ नहीं ये तो बड़ा आसान सवाल था. तो दे वर इजी क्वेश्चंस. उस वक्त जो मुश्किल क्वेश्चन होते थे एक्चुअली ओवर पावर, तो उस वक्त समझ नहीं आ रहा होता. इट्स वेरी नॉर्मल टू फील ड्यूरिंग एग्जाम कि मुझे कुछ नहीं आता, बट देयर इज समथिंग इन द बैक ऑफ योर माइंड. तो एक वो बात थी. I did NBMEs 25 to 31. I guess they're sufficient. You can do as much as you want. क्वेश्चंस में एक और पैटर्न था, सिस्टम्स वर इंटीग्रेटेड विद सब्जेक्ट्स. मैंने ये नोटिस किया था. आई कुडंट टेल कि अच्छा रेस्पो ज्यादा आया था या एमएसके ज्यादा आया था. मेरे में एमएसके आया था आई फील लाइक, बट आई कुडंट टेल कि कौन सा पर्टिकुलर ज्यादा आया था, बिकॉज फॉर एग्जांपल रीप्रो और माइक्रो दोनों इंटीग्रेटेड आए हुए थे. तो इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस थे. Not out of the world, but definitely you need to be alert to do questions. There's this time bomb नीचे, which is constantly making you confused कि क्या करूं, but you need to be very calm with that. And I don't know if there are any of you from fourth year or not, but since Noha gave her exam in fourth year and I took a 1.5 month break from my prep time, so I noticed कि obs, gynae, ENT, I ये जो है आपको इनमें अलग से टाइम देना होगा. if you're a fourth year student, तो इनको आपको टाइम देना होगा. So you need to have at least 2 months before your exam. अगर आपने पेपर दे दिया है, so you need some time to get over that exhaustion ताकि आप पढ़ सकें. वरना you can't study for your prof. And I think obs gynae, ENT, eye, rehab, इसके लिए आपको चाहिए rehab तो खैर मैंने भी नहीं पढ़ा था, rehab हो ही जाता है, पढ़ने का भी फायदा नहीं है वैसे, पढ़ो तो भी you know. एंड न्यूरो जैसे सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, न्यूरो एंड एंडो, अगर आपने स्टेप के लिए पढ़ा, आई गेस इट्स मोर देन इनफ फॉर योर प्रॉफ. मेरा ख्याल से मैंने न्यूरो के लिए सिर्फ फर्स्ट एड की थी, और कुछ मेडिसिन की चीज़ें होती हैं मैंने वो देख ली थी. एंडो और न्यूरो में थोड़ी बस मेडिसिन पार्ट, एंड सर्जरी ऑफ कोर्स, सर्जरी हमारा स्टेप 1 में नहीं है, सो यू डेफिनेटली नीड टू डू दैट. रीनल की सर्जरी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो मुझे ये लगा था, आई वॉज कॉन्स्टेंटली सेंडिंग नोहा स्टफ जो स्टेप 1 में नहीं थी, तो आई गेस दैट हेल्प. And Mehlman Pharma PDF. I was introduced to it very later on, but its Pharma PDF was really good. मुझे सबसे अच्छी वो हेम के लिए लगी और MSK के लिए. It was really nice. बहुत concepts clear हो जाते हैं because there's so many drugs और सबकी अलग specifications हैं. You don't know कि अच्छा ये भी दे सकते हैं, ये भी दे सकते हैं, but which one is the best? तो वो देख लें. अच्छा, आई वॉज वेरी हार्ड ऑन बायोस्टैट्स एंड बायोकेम. ये जो दोनों बायो हैं, आई रियली फाउंड देम वेरी डिफिकल्ट. एंड आई वाज कॉन्स्टेंटली टेलिंग मत करो इस पे इतनी मेहनत, मत करो, बट आई वाज आई एम द वन जिसको रिविजन के बाद रिविजन चाहिए होती है, एंड जब तक मल्टीपल रिविजन ना करूँ, आई एम नॉट कॉन्फिडेंट. जो मैंने 10 days एक्सटेंड किए थे वो भी इसलिए थे बिकॉज आई वांटेड टू रिवाइज ऑल ओवर अगेन. सो दैट्स जस्ट मी, दैट्स नॉट एवरीवन. बट बायोकेम और बायोस्टैट्स बहुत कम आई थी. बायोस्टैट्स के आई गेस 2-3 क्वेश्चन थे. उसमें भी कोहॉर्ट है या लाइक द टाइप ऑफ स्टडी, उस तरह के क्वेश्चन आ जाते हैं. सॉल्व करने वाला तो कैलकुलेशन वाला तो एक ही था, वो मैंने कैलकुलेट भी नहीं किया था. क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स पे क्वेश्चन आ जाते हैं. सो ये जो मेजर मेजर चीज़ें हैं वो देखनी ज़रूरी है. ऑल ऑफ इट इज़ नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट. गेस फॉर कंप्लीटनेस सेक कर लेना चाहिए. किया था मैंने. आई बेरली डिड बायोस्टैट्स ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग, लेकिन कर लेना चाहिए. और I don't think I have much to say about it, but if you have any questions about how the exam went or how to take breaks, I can help with that. When did you start your preparation? I guess I answered that, but I started February 2024. On and off, going to library, clinicals लेके मैं घर चली जाती थी या लाइब्रेरी चली जाती थी. और फिर प्रॉफ के बाद अभी फरवरी में मैंने स्टार्ट किया था 2025 में. उसके बाद तो मैंने बस यूनिवर्सिटी को गुड बाय कर दिया था, और मैं यूनिवर्सिटी अब जाना शुरू हुई तो खैर अभी बारिशों की वजह से यूनिवर्सिटी बंद है. लेकिन आई स्टॉप गोइंग टू यूनिवर्सिटी फरवरी से, एंड माई डेडिकेटेड वॉज 2 months जून जुलाई. और ब्रेक्स के लिए आई कॉन्टैक्ट नोहा, जो कि स्टेप 1 के टाइम पे भी बिजी थी, उसके बाद भी बिजी ही रहती हैं, बट आई टेक ब्रेक्स विद नोहा. एंड आई डिड सिस्टम वाइज. नाउ अब मैं सोचती हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि शायद मैं सब्जेक्ट वाइज कर ले, आई मीन ओवरऑल कर लेती, बट आई डिड सिस्टम वाइज. मेरा ये मानना है कि इफ यू डू सिस्टम वाइज यू गेन कॉन्फिडेंस, बट when you transition to the random mode, scores do drop, but that's normal. Don't take it hard on yourself. Scores drop होंगे, but that's fine. I mean, you'll gain the scores back. तो मैंने तो यही किया था. I did first system wise, physio, patho, anatomy, embryo, pharma. और फिर पैथोफिजियोलॉजी वाला पोर्शन और बाकी जेनेटिक्स वगैरह सब मैंने बाद में किया था. It helped me. And yeah, I guess that's it from my side. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum guys. अच्छा तो that was a very nice story that inspired us a lot. हम लोग क्वेश्चन आंसर्स की तरफ जाएंगे. शुरू से काफ़ी सारे क्वेश्चन आंसर्स आए हुए थे, तो I'll start handling that question start से. So there's this guy Mohammed. He asked, long question. I was dedicated to step 1 since my entry into medical school, but then I became very sick for 2 years and I really didn't do well in my first and second year exams. Passed with supplementary exams. The only subject that did well was physiology. Now being in third year, what I am doing for step 1 is FA, BNB, UWorld, sketchy pathoma. So is it enough for what I missed in first and second year? Of course, FA would not cover anatomy of Grays and biochem or biochem of Lippincott, but like is FA portion of biochem and anatomy enough for step 1? That's the question. And now
Sad, can you be a little slower?
uh,
ये
वो
हाँ.
पूछ रहे हैं, बस बेसिकली वो पूछ रहे हैं कि मैं फर्स्ट एंड सेकेंड ईयर में उन्होंने सही से नहीं पढ़ा, एंड नाउ इज एफ ए इनफ टू कवर ग्रेज एंड बायोकेम ऑफ लिपिन कॉल एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट.
He's talking about biochem. Maha, you did a lot of biochem. You answered
या
this.
आई डिड डू, मैंने मेहरमन से काफी हेल्प की थी, आई गेस दैट हेल्प्स अ लॉट। और बायो में से इतना नहीं पूछते जितना हम पाथवेज के पीछे जा रहे होते हैं। नुहा के टाइम पे भी नहीं पूछे थे, मेरे टाइम पे भी नहीं पूछे थे, बस
He
नीड।
can watch Dirty Medicine Biochem. I don't know, Maha did it. I
या
recommended
आई
it.
डिड दैट, इट्स रियली हेल्पफुल।
Dirty Medicine Biochem is really good.
एंड
Uh,
मेहरमन पीडीएफ।
there is this question from Samin. What do you need to do to get into competitive specialties like roads? Is it even possible? What do we have to do to increase our chances? I guess this is not a question related to USMLE, but if you want to answer, you can answer them regardless.
I saw this question as well. What's roads? I don't know what roads is. Saad, do you know?
I don't know what roads is. Let's move on. And if Samin wants to ask this question again, she can ask. What are the credential required for ECFMG certification? As we haven't done graduation, what are those credential required?
Okay, Maha, correct me if I have missed anything. Obviously your name, your address, residential address, you need your billing. Recently I read somewhere that you can only use a US bank now. Before I knew people who used their own local ones like Mizan and stuff, but now you need to have a US based account. And then you need to give the university's address. Some people don't know this, but whenever you put your address there, you can even contact me later on. But university का address PECHS का आता है, and that's normal. It's the correct address, okay? Then I would recommend that you go to Miss Christina to confirm your graduation requirements. When did you start? When will you graduate? And those dates they ask for, those months they ask for. So Miss Christina say double check her. She's very well aware of this process. She does a lot of students her certification. I would also recommend you tell her beforehand क्योंकि जब पूरा process कर लेते हो online, then they need to verify it. So the faster you let them know that you're waiting on your application, then she will verify it even faster. Like मेरा तो I think 2-3 दिन में हो गया था. Because I had told her beforehand, and if you have a social security number, everything goes even faster. Maha's was a bit delayed. Mine's happened very quickly. What else did they ask?
पासपोर्ट, वैलिड पासपोर्ट।
Passport, हाँ. और फिर आप notarization के जो video camera session होता है ना, they just ask you to verify that in face form, basically. You don't have to graduate to do this.
I don't know, I guess no things have changed after the transition. कुछ
Exactly. So do look at my
नया
Intel.
नया thing.
Everything is there. They have a whole user guide manual for this for all types of applicants, new applicants, for existing applicants, for other applications. Like they have, and this is they give you pictures about everything. So I don't think they can give it even more clear than that.
I mean, the transition process is a little bit weird because my result was delayed for a week or more. Usually Wednesdays ko aata hai, got it on Thursday and couldn't download the PDF. So I guess they're working on stuff still, magar it's very uncertain at this point.
Yeah, it's too new. I mean, it just happened last week, you know. So
That's nice. Okay, so another question we have from Zartashia. Should you do electives in the US after step one or before? What is your opinion on electives in Pakistan?
Maha has done a lot more electives than I have. My first one was 2 months ago. I found it it was very helpful. You learned a lot, especially if you're consciously making an effort. But I feel like Maha can answer this as actually, I don't know, I felt like I knew a lot because of my step one. So Maha,
I mean,
you
yeah,
yeah.
definitely you get a lot of information. I guess step 2 में ज़्यादा help करता है clinical experience, but it's not much हमारी अगर हम ethics की बात कर लें, it's not much relevant to the US thing. I think the practices done here, just तरह patient से बात करते and everything, it's not much relevant. You did it in Indus and your doctors were even US graduates, so they did it that way. But जहाँ जहाँ मैंने किया है जिना सिविल तो वहाँ इतना I don't think it's helpful. करना है तो do it in a good place under a doctor who is US trained. I guess that's better.
His LOR will be a lot more useful because they know what program directors are looking for. So when I went to this doctor, he's an MD, he was like, I want to write you an LOR that program directors will read and they'll want that information. They'll want how do you handle patients? They want to see how active were you in grand rounds? How what difficulties did you face? And what's your personality type? Were you helpful? Were you getting along with your team? All of those things they look in the LOR. And if he's not a US based doctor, they won't know what the program director is looking for. So it's just going to be a generic LOR that you won't even want to include in your application. So either get an LOR from a MD or get, which is the best case scenario, is getting from the US.
Okay,
And
so
it's after step one.
okay, okay. Waheen Kumar asks, is it a good idea to do the first 50% of UWorld in a system-wise manner to build a foundation and then switch doing remaining 50% in a mixed mode since step one won't specify which system a question is from?
I guess we did that.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's move on then. Do you think it's more worth it getting 1 year subscription or 2 year subscription for UWorld?
I had
Mahan,
2 year, I had 1 year, I had to take 2 months extra. It depends on your timeline, no?
yeah, but like I'm on my step 2 6 month subscription. I would not recommend a 6 month because 6 months fly by so fast you don't realize where the time goes. So 1 year, and Maha had to extend one
I
year.
mean,
So
Noha did everything beforehand. With the first year say and third year say
yeah,
you were. I was
I
like,
got a 2 year, right? Okay, if you need to extend the 2 year, then that's
I guess
that's
1 year
crazy.
would be enough if you're good with your plan. बीच में prof आ गया था, so I had थोड़ा कम time, so I had to get two.
Yeah, 2 years, like if you have the money, I think, and if you're in like second or third year, okay. Because 1 year में or 2 year में इतना फर्क नहीं है, right?
Hmm.
हाँ,
Yeah. I mean, it's better to get 1 year or 6 months and 2, 3 months के जो लोग लेते हैं try करने के लिए. That will cost you a lot in the longer run. क्योंकि आप बार-बार,
and two
नहीं.
years में ये होता है कि when you have leftover, I think I had 6 months left in mine, though I don't know how ethical it is, but people sell it.
Okay, that's nice. We'll move on to the next question. Are these resources enough? Again, FA, BNB, UWorld, Sketchy for micro and Pathoma.
Yes.
Yes. Can you please?
Pathoma 1, sorry, I would want to add one thing. Pathoma का chapter 1 to 3 is very important.
Mhm.
बाकी फिर भी थोड़ा neglect कर सकते हैं, लेकिन 1 to 3, I guess really helpful.
Like I didn't open Pathoma for 3 4 months before my
Yeah,
exam.
yeah. I didn't do it in my dedicated period, but 1 to 3 ka, if even if you open Reddit, so many people would agree with that कि 1 to 3 is very important. मतलब general patho के लिए.
Mhm.
Yeah, guys, I forgot to mention Reddit. Reddit is very helpful. It's
Mhm.
very unofficial, but you can find out so much on that. I think it's our step one, that one, Maha.
जी.
हाँ, our step one पे सब कुछ पता चल जाता है Reddit. I mean, what did I say to her? I think I said you should read Reddit after your
Before
exam.
exam
Before.
and read it after. I mean it should have been the other way around because paper से पहले result आ रहे हैं fail या मैंने ये गलत किया मैंने वो गलत किया. I'm like, oh my god, मेरे पास एक हफ्ता है, I can't change that.
Yeah.
So I guess after is better, और एक महीना पहले बस delete कर दें, I guess.
I used to go on Reddit when I used to get like terrible scores. I'd be like, is anyone else going through the same thing?
I guess 1 month before your exam, delete Reddit. Okay, it's very
Yeah,
stressful. मैं तो बहुत मेरे anxiety levels shoot कर गए थे.
but do follow it. It's nice.
Another question we have, can you please shed some light on again ECFMG transition to my Intel? How will this affect ongoing application and exam registrations?
So, for example, Maha had to tell everyone how you got your result, what you had to do. So Maha
So
is an existing applicant. She was registered already for step one. Okay.
I was registered for step one. I had booked my exam, everything. But due to the transition, result एक तो देर से आया. I just had to put my ECFMG ID and basically my email address and password, and then I got a confirmation on my Gmail, and it was very easy. लेकिन कुछ लोगों का ये हो रहा था कि credentials का मसला. अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मेरा नहीं हुआ. मुझे $160 वापस से पे नहीं करने पड़ेंगे, बट लोगों को करने पड़ रहे हैं $690 आई गेस, क्योंकि उनके नहीं हुए हुए थे. आई डोंट नो इट्स लक और व्हाट, क्या मसला है,
No,
बट इट्स
they
वेरी
gave a
इजी.
date. They gave a date. I even posted on the Facebook page that you need to go to your account and see if there's any notification on there. Up though it's too late, but some people didn't open their accounts and they just let the date pass, and then later on they found out, oh, this information wasn't verified. Oh, this wasn't completed. And then later on, when the transition was made, they're like, you need to pay this much now for it.
या
So.
रिजल्ट देखने का तरीका इज नॉट दैट डिफिकल्ट, बट अभी तो यू हैव टू डू कोडिंग एंड स्टफ टू गेट योर रिजल्ट, क्योंकि दे weren't गिविंग इट डायरेक्टली, पीडीएफ डाउनलोड ही नहीं हो रही थी. बट आई गेस दे आर गोना वर्क ऑन इट.
For me, I just did the same thing as you. I put my email in. I forgot my password, so I reset my password. And then they gave
After you
me
got your
my
result,
I
that's
forgot it. And then then I checked my file. Basically, just look for the status. Mine's was already written account established, so I'm done. There's nothing I need to do. But some people they said you need to notarize, you need to do this, you need to do that. So just follow whatever your uh account is saying.
ये क्वेश्चन मेरी तरफ से है. अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल डू दिस कि जब नया सिस्टम स्टार्ट करते हैं तो फर्स्ट दे डू पैथोमा से पैथोलॉजी एंड देन दे गो थ्रू द फर्स्ट एड, बिल्कुल एनाटमी से स्टार्ट करके फिर उसकी पैथोलॉजी करके फार्माकोलॉजी पे जाते हैं. वुड यू रिकमेंड डूइंग दिस, और वुड यू रिकमेंड कि आप फर्स्ट एड से स्टार्ट करो, एनाटमी फिजियोलॉजी करके देन मूव टू पैथोमा फॉर पैथोलॉजी एंड कम बैक टू एफ ए फॉर फार्मा एंड अदर स्टफ? व्हाट डू यू रिकमेंड?
I don't think there is a right or wrong way, but मैं तो पैथो के साथ थर्ड फोर्थ ईयर में कर ली थी, तो मैंने एफए के साथ अलग से नहीं की. आई जस्ट डिड एफए एंड यूवर्ड एट दैट टाइम, एंड वीडियो रिसोर्सेज अगर मुझे कोई देखनी होती थी, मैंने तो काफी वीडियोस नहीं भी देखी, बट आई वर्क इट वर्क दैट वे फॉर मी. आई डोंट नो. हाँ.
I think it depends on what stage you're at. If you're a first and second year, then I would recommend you do pathoma first. If you're a third year, you've already done pathoma before or some sort of pathology resource, and you do FA, then that's fine. It depends.
Okay, so another question is, did the researches you published help you in your USMLE journey?
बताएं लो. हाँ.
Again, I'm not a multitasker. I'm very bad at it. But I don't think we can answer that question because we have not reached that stage where we can see what helped us and what not in this pathway. Residency tak pata chalega. But I have heard that research is important. And the average, if you see on the NBME website, the average people who got accepted had 4 or 5 researchers published who matched. But then I've also spoken to some program directors. They're like more so about their research is about your experience in research. Like if you were part of a organization working on research, or if you have some experience in somewhere there, that also counts because you're not doing a PhD or anything. They just want to see, can you do a research when you come? Do you have that knowledge? Obviously, publications trump everything, but even experience is okay.
अनदर क्वेश्चन ये अगेन फिर रेजिडेंसी वगैरह से रिलेटेड है। हम लोग जब नूहा मंजूर एंड महा खान मैच कर जाएंगे इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट ईयर या उससे नेक्स्ट ईयर, तब हम लोग एक और सेशन रख लेंगे रेजिडेंसी के ऊपर। फॉर नाउ दिस क्वेश्चन अगर आप लेना चाहें, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज ईरास सीवी एंड हाउ डज इट वर्क फॉर रेजिडेंसी एप्लीकेशंस?
ये तो नोहा ही आंसर कर सकती है, शी इज बीन लुकिंग इनटू इट।
So from what I have seen, it's a portal. It has a very cool algorithm, to be honest. Usme jo hai, you need to signal programs. Basically, you make your CV and everything, and then you look into programs, and according to that, you signal them. Signaling basically means that I'm interested in this program. And over there, they say that you need to be careful because, for example, 250 above in step two is like very good, right? And if you got like a 220 and you want to apply in like Harvard, so Harvard's going to be like, you're not in competition with our students. So how are you expecting us to, for example, you just have one research. So how are you expecting yourself to get into Harvard just because um, you plan to? Like, does your CV align with them? It's okay to go for like lower areas and stuff. Like, they just want, and are you affording, do you have like, you just need to be more realistic with the way that you choose your programs, because if you're more realistic, you're more likely to match. And if you try to aim way too high when your scores aren't matching up or your research isn't, then you're less likely to match. So an ERAS application is basically where you do the whole residency process through that. You choose programs, you go through pathways on, I don't know how much it's changed now, but there are different pathways for graduates, non-graduates. There's the SOAP. It's a lot. I don't think any of you guys are at that stage. Most of you guys are second, third years. Um, Maybe there was one postgraduate. They would probably know better than I do. So that's all I can say about ERAS. It's just the way that the portal that they use for residency.
Another question is, how did you find someone to mentor you, or how can we find study groups or people with similar interests?
Can I add one thing to it? There is one group on Facebook, USMLE Pakistan. I mean, it's sometimes very irrelevant, but most of the times you need information, लोग जवाब दे देते हैं. So you can join that. कभी-कभी बहुत weird stuff भी होता है, but mostly it's helpful. I mean, you can anonymously comment and ask stuff. मैंने किया है बहुत बार, so you can do
Hmm.
that.
I think I mentioned what groups. There's Reddit, there's PIMG. How did I find a mentor?
Instagram पे एक
There family contacts, family friends. I didn't have anyone in my family, but I had family friends, friends of friends. I literally contacted anyone I knew who had a step one, and I'd shamelessly message them time and time without asking, "How are you?" even. So, I was like, I'm done asking about how are you? Are you doing well? By the way, I had this question, but I guess you need to do it, no matter how. And everyone, like, I understand now, like people who have given step one, and inshallah, Maha will also see that whenever someone comes to you for a question and stuff, you don't feel that, oh, they didn't ask about me, they just want to know information for step one, and that's completely okay. So just contact everyone I feel like in the beginning, contact everyone get as much information, and then when you've started preparation and you're moving on, just stick to one, two people. Don't ask everyone unless you're in you know, you're at a hurdle, or you got a hiccup somewhere and you need to get a full information about something, and not everyone has all the experience. Like for example, everyone goes through different situations, right? So then you can contact more people, but throughout your preparation, stick to one and two. You don't want to get confused and lost with so many opinions.
the one who's
So I even took a session. I don't know if she does it anymore. There's this girl, Mehroob, in BBS, I think. Is it her name? Her name is Meher, actually. I'm not sure she does sessions anymore, but she was the first person I took a mentorship session with. I think it costed what? How much was it?
I guess 3,000.
Yeah, Maha was judging me for it. She said, "You paid 3,000 for a mentorship."
Well, I followed her steps again, but
But I felt like I needed it because I didn't know anyone at that
I
point,
mean,
right?
no one could help me better than you. I don't think, मतलब मैं outsider से इतना नहीं पूछ सकती थी सवाल.
Yeah,
The way I
yeah.
used to bother you continuously, but
See, just
yeah.
anywhere you could find someone, use them later on, stick to one, two people.
But yeah, do keep your scores private. क्योंकि जो लोग high scorers होते हैं, they really do demotivate you. वो कहते हैं तुम्हारा
Mhm.
इतना कम आया है, no, you can't give paper with that. जिनके कम होते हैं, they're like, oh, you got this much? I didn't get that much. So you're, on cloud nine, ke, oh, मेरे तो इतना अच्छा आ गया है. Then you get
Even
overconfident.
with people who have passed,
But
like,
give an exam. I guess that's better.
yeah,
Not with those who are preparing with you.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Don't ask advice from people who haven't given the exam. Go to people, keep your mentor someone who has passed, who has done everything, and do share your scores with them because they know where you stand. Then I felt that whenever they didn't know my score, they didn't know where I was standing. They were like giving me generic tips, but once I told them, "Oh, I'm getting this much at this point in time," um, and you'd be surprised about their advices because I think a 2, 3 weeks when I was deciding to extend, I wasn't getting like I think my NBME was like 60 at that point, or it was less. Maybe I was getting 56 or 57 or something. So I genuinely thought that she would tell me not to give the exam. And she was like, no, you should still give it. You're still passing. And I was like, what do you mean I'm still passing? Like, isn't passing 65 and above? She told me that every exam has a percentile. So how difficult the exam and based on the student's performance is the percentile. So if it's a difficult exam, then the percentile will be lower. If it's a hard, even if you check on the website, I didn't see anywhere where they said 65% is passing. I don't know if you guys have seen,
That's a
but I
general
did.
benchmark. But
Yeah, or they're
so
saying 196 is a pass on
yeah.
step one. No, it's not. Like
I just
it
say to be on
varies.
safe side, but I mean, I never got
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So definitely find someone. You need a mentor, someone who has passed step one, and stick to one or two. Don't do too many.
Another question जो USMLE related नहीं है, with the recent changes in visa requirements and recruiters hospitals for observerships and electives going to prefer a visa holder over me, and how should I prepare to handle that? Latest question, इसके बाद we don't have any more questions.
Okay. So I recent there's always constant changes. एक तो ये है कि I don't think it matters visa holder or not. It does matter if you're a citizen. I have seen the statistics on it. You are more likely if you're a citizen. It's easier. But they have started this thing, I think in Texas, in New York, and in a number of other places where you don't require even to give steps anymore. Like you go that like if you're doing a residency where it's accepted, you go and you do a number of years training, and then they give you a licensing according to some requirements.
You
So
don't
if
need
they're
to do.
starting to do that, then it doesn't matter if you're a visa holder or not at this point. And there's shortage of doctors, like in the US especially. A lot of people are doing PA-ship, which is I forgot, it's not personal assistant, but it's basically a shortcut to medicine, I think. But you're not a full doctor in that, but you're still considered one. So there are not many people who are doing medicine in the US. It's very expensive. It's a very difficult process in the US. So visa holder, honestly, it's all in Allah Ta'ala's plan, and you can't use these things to determine where you're going to be. This is not in your hands. Always do what's in your hand. Can you give the step one? Yeah. Can you give the step two? Okay. Did you apply for the visa even, or did you not apply because you don't think you'll get it? These things, don't let it, just do what you can. The rest is on Allah Ta'ala. Your matching, your residency. Whenever you do all that you can, then you're satisfied. Then you're like, I did what I could. No, this stuff is not on me. So I don't think this information matters. Is there more of a chance? Is there less of a chance? Apply. Go for it. You wanted to become a doctor in the US, give your best. Don't worry about these paperwork and stuff. Not worth it. But then again, Maha would always tell me that Noha, it's easier for you.
Yeah.
We have to think about all of this. And
I mean, अब मैं सोच I wasn't sure if I clear step one because there's always uncertainty, and due to recent policies of Trump and all. So अब मैं सोच रही हूँ finally to apply for a visa. Some people do get rejected 2, 3 times. I do know people who got rejected 3 times, 4 time visa laga, and they're doing their residency. So it's part of life. I guess we need to keep trying.
physician assisted, Noman is saying. Yeah, it's physician assistant. They keep saying to have a backup plan because of the visa. Yeah, of course. Like even me, I have like if you can get like for example, I think the US route covers the rest. You just have to do a little more. For example, if you didn't get into the US and you want to go to the UK, PLAB 1, PLAB 2 is easy for you, honestly. You can just give the exam with like 1, 2 month bread. FCPS is a piece of cake after you do step 1, step 2. थोड़ी बहुत चीजें करनी होंगी. So like you go for the US route, I don't think you're even PLAB 1, you have to do it after graduation. So you'll find out easier. Like I think if you go for the US route, doing the others aren't too difficult. And I don't know anything about AMC, by the way. I only know about UK and the US. And everyone's timeline varies as well. Like my mom, he's in the UK. He's done his PLAB 1, PLAB 2. Everything was up to date. But it's so saturated over there that he still hasn't started
That's
his
true.
residency. Yeah. So, you know, there is a backup everywhere after you choose the US route.
Okay, so we don't have any more questions. अगर आप लोगों के पास कोई क्वेश्चन है तो आप अभी भेज सकते हैं or you can ask in the group as well. That's all from our side. Do you want to add anything?
There are some in the
Is there
chat.
someone who's in the
Conversations,
final?
yeah. Huh?
Sorry? बोलो बोलो.
Saying?
I was just saying, is there someone who's just about to give their exam or they're in their final prep stages? So you can give an insight on how to review an NBME.
Me or them?
I mean, you know how.
Oh,
If
okay.
someone's,
अगर कोई है इधर तो बता दे
Mhm.
so we can discuss about that.
I don't think.
कोई भी नहीं
Do
होगा बस
letters of
you
recommendation.
continue regardless.
Okay.
Okay. For future. There are these some questions. Do letter of recommendation get uploaded directly into ERES? I think they do. Okay. How to review an NBME? Okay. What I used to do, so you did an NBME. The first day, don't do anything. Okay, don't pick up any questions. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, because your video was stuck. Okay, yeah. NBME day, do not review it. Take that day to refresh. It's you get really tired after. It's like 5 hours, 5.5 to 6. Then the next day, you take one block, you read a question, and what I used to do is I first took that block and I reviewed my incorrects first and I skipped the correct ones because I felt like my mind was fresher at that point and I needed to work on my incorrects more than my corrects. So I saw that and then the incorrect question, I'd read it. Then I'd see why did I get it wrong? Was it because I was lacking in I think Maha told me they call this triage. I didn't know.
Yeah, I can tell this. Actually, I did not follow this, but after exam you do learn things. कि, oh, ऐसे
Yeah.
कर लेते हैं. So that phase, तो मैंने ये सीखा कि you can do it in triad system. So first, after giving an NBME, analyze the questions you got right. Okay, you knew them, you got right. एक हो गया. Second, आप करें कि okay, you got right, but you just guessed it. And third, you did not have any idea about them. तो वो गलत ही थे। तो इन तीन उसमें अगर डिवाइड करके यू स्टार्ट रिव्यूइंग, सो इट गेट्स इजियर। ओके, यू नो कि अच्छा मुझे ये तो आता है, तो इसको मैं थोड़ी कम अटेंशन देती हूँ। ओके, ये वाला पार्ट जो है, आई जस्ट गेस्ड मे बी देयर सम नॉलेज गैप, और जो इनकरेक्ट्स है, ओके, did I not read the question correct, या फिर I wasn't paying attention, या मुझे आता ही नहीं है। तो उस हिसाब से it gets easier to review the NBME. I wish I did that, but I learned it from Reddit. So you must
Yeah, I
download
made
Reddit.
notes as well for NBMEs because going through a whole NBME was a little difficult. So I used to write down NBME 25, then point one, what was this point two, what did I see in this? Like, and then I just reviewed that note later on in my preparation. So that would be kind of like reviewing NBME. For corrects, you can just read the educational objective. That would be enough. And don't try to do all of the whole NBME in one go. Like break it
I
down, take
did
four,
make notes.
like
I
take four
never
days.
used
It
them
used to
again.
take me 4 days. I think it took Maha longer. Um,
4 to 5 days, not less than that. I
mm,
wouldn't do
but
100 questions in one day,
yeah, by the end of preparation, I was doing it in 2 days,
max.
100. But it is
I was
important
still
to
doing it in
review it
four
though.
days.
Yeah, you should review it very
Mhm.
nicely because then what's the point of giving the next NBME when you didn't work on your weaknesses in the previous one?
I mean, it does make a difference. I remember the first NBME, which was the very easiest one, 27. I gave it in Amazon and I got like 54%. And I had a great jump to 60% in my next one just because of reviewing it nicely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really matters how you review it because that's when you'll see a change. Also, aside from that, there's also old free 120. Also do that. I know it's easier and it was according to how they used to test on, but it's more practice and it's just 120 questions. So old free 120, new free 120, UWSAs, NBMEs, and if you're seeing an upward trend in an NBME, that's fine. If you don't see any change or you're going down, you need to change something big.
Okay, so we have another question. Yes, what's your take on house job in Pakistan during MLE journey?
I am talking to a lot of people, especially US-based doctors and already people who are doing house job. From even when I was watching house officers during my elective, I was like, is that my future? Um, so there are very mixed opinions about this. So I spoke to someone who is a doctor in the US and who's pretty senior at this point, and they say no need. You don't need it. And I mean, they say work on other things that are more important, like your step two or your observerships, researches, stuff like that, because that's their core in your application.
I mean, if you're
Um,
not doing anything, so, better do something.
then I spoke to a younger doctor who's also an MD who recently came back after a fellowship, and he recommended that you should do house job because for us in medical school, you don't get exposed to patients. You don't take up a patient and handle them and go through their management and examination research, like from the beginning till the end of till discharge, right? You don't follow up with it. That's why US clinical experience is important because that's what they make you do. They give you five, six patients. They're under your supervision while you're doing it, but they ask you to do everything over there. So that's what the doctor made me do in this elective because he was like, this is what's going to happen when you go to the US. They're going to give you five patients and they're going to ask you to manage it. So you don't get that in medical school. So in house job, you do. So if you have the time and if you have, you know, basically if the situation is such that you can do a house job, then do it. And if you have to leave it in the middle because of your residency or because of your step two or something, then that's okay. So just make sure that you do house job in medicine ASAP.
I have a question.
Yeah.
One thing about the gap in CV, if you don't do a house job, other thing, being a US citizen and the one who is trying to apply for visas,
Mm-hmm.
agar, it's always a risk. You need to have a backup, as someone said. So is it not better to do house job in that situation? कि मतलब, God forbid नहीं होता कुछ. That, you never know. So you should
Mm.
be able to do in Pakistan at least.
And I think I was seeing that वैसे ही house job थोड़े से देर से शुरू होता है, right? Like
Break.
July, I think, or August.
3-4 months break होती है कम से कम.
And anyways, by that time you should be done with your stuff for the application because September is the deadline, right?
Mhm.
So I think I will do house job. That's my opinion. If not, if it's difficult, then I'll probably just do medicine. But I think you should do it. That's what
Yeah.
I've come to a conclusion.
Okay, so we have another question. How much preparation time should an IMG ideally take before attempting step 2 CK after step 1, given that a significant portion of step 2 concepts build upon step 1 knowledge?
Um, I don't know if other step one, maybe Maha, I don't know, we'll see now. But after my step one, I got really, really tired. Okay. It took me a good 4 months, I think, to get back to being able to study again. Okay. Um, it was really like I couldn't open up. I was just in fatigue. There was so much going on during my step one time, and after that, I felt like I was catching up on life, to be honest. I was like, where did all that time go? So ideally, I feel like you should give it within 6 months, if it's possible. For me, it's not working out. But a lot of the step two stuff is based on step one. They just ask it differently. Like they'll give you a whole case, and I'd be like, I know a step one answer to this. I don't know a step two answer to this. Like, what's the next best management? And a lot of the cases, a lot of the answers are like, observe and follow up in 2 weeks. Okay, so how am I supposed to know when to observe and when to so those stuff come in step two, more clinically oriented. It's a lot of step one, and you have that base. I feel like I still do have step one stuff in my head, but if it were fresher, it would be a lot faster. And I'm not scoring as bad. Like in step two, I'm doing random, I'm doing system, I'm doing everything because I already have all that knowledge. It's just an add-on. I'm not getting as low as I used to in step one. Like in step one, I started out with like 15, 20%. Now in step two, alhamdulillah, I'm getting above like a lot more. So,
So
hmm?
even if you did Mehlman PDFs, you noticed कि वहाँ
Yeah.
पे step one के साथ साथ they tell step 2 के management. So I guess
Mm.
अगर
Within
पढ़ा
6 months is a good time. A lot of people do step one, step two preparation alongside, or दोनों
हाँ.
साथ दे देते हैं.
But I'm really much tired of not studying. But
You're not?
I'm tired of not studying because I'm like I have nothing to do. But Nuha ने बोला कि 1 महीना नहीं पढ़ना है, तो I'm just waiting
Yeah.
to win.
अच्छा वहीन, जो आपका क्वेश्चन है इट्स अगेन यूएससी, तो हम इसको अगले किसी सेशन में डिस्कस करेंगे, जिसका ना दैट सेशन वुड बी स्पेसिफिक टू यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स क्लिनिकल एक्सपीरियंस, तो दैट वुड बी ये क्वेश्चन उधर काम आएगा। बाकी फॉर नाउ यूएसएमएलई रिलेटेड, प्रिपरेशन रिलेटेड कोई भी आपके सवाल आते हैं तो आप पूछ सकते हैं।
Is there a first year? Who's the first year?
We didn't have any first years.
Really? I thought I saw one. उनको
ग्रेजुएट्स थे
visit
थर्ड फोर्थ सेकेंड ईयर, लेकिन फर्स्ट ईयर हाँ
Never
है।
done.
हदीका।
eh? Ah, okay. Thank you so much for coming. मुझे था फर्स्ट ईयर में से कोई आ जाए क्योंकि मैंने फर्स्ट ईयर में शुरू किया था तो कोई ना कोई तो आना चाहिए like I
But
even
yeah,
messaged the
first
CR.
year में अगर ये है तो I definitely say BRS is very good resource.
Yeah, BRS helped a lot, yeah.
BRS physio especially very nice.
And first year में ये था कि पता ही नहीं था ना कि what do I do? And I don't
मतलब
know if you
first year
guys
में
had
आके पता चला था USMLE कुछ होता है. I did not know
हाँ
anything about that.
Exactly. I didn't even know what NBME was, and so even when Dr. Bilal would call in जो match हो चुके थे, so I didn't know what I was supposed to ask her because I didn't know what to do about it and stuff, right? So and Dr. Bilal, I don't know if you guys had the orientation, like the talk that he gives to the first years, but he was a big person in making me like he's very supportive. So use Dr. Bilal, he's your dean. Go to him, ask him what you should do. Keep him updated. Tell him you bought your triad. Tell him don't be ashamed. He even told me he's like even if you fail, come and tell me. We'll figure something out. So he really wants you to ace in this, and he was very supportive. And in his talk that he gave to as a first year, he like gave us these yellow post-its. I think I even still have it.
Yeah.
I do. Look, he gave us these, okay? And he told us that you have, I don't know how many months till graduation. And right on this,
60
like,
months.
yeah, 60 months, right? So he said,
I don't
okay,
even remember that.
yeah, 6 months in, where do you want to be? 12 months in, where do you want to be? He literally like I kept it. I didn't use it, but I had it with me. I was like, by this time, I want to be doing this, I want to be doing that. So he like really like got me on track when at times as well. Like I'd remember stuff that he'd say. I remember in interviews. So for me, when I got into medicine, my dad was like, "You're only doing it if you give the USMLE." Okay. So I was like, no, no, what is this biasness? What do you mean that just because he's an American board certified doctor, he's the best and whatnot? And everyone was just telling me in the family, just forget what he said, just get into the university. And then I wasn't ready to commit. I was like, I'm a first year student. How can you expect me to commit to giving the USMLE and whatnot? My dad's very big on it. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I didn't think I was a good student. I had really low A-level grades and my MDCAT, and
You're
especially
a
for the
smart student.
so, but then yeah, I was just not ready to commit. Anyways, I just told him Tika say it, whatever. And then when Dr. Bilal when the interviews were going on, they asked us, "What's your weakness?" So I told them, "Okay, my weakness is that I dream too big." So I think it was Dr. Uzma. Yeah, it was Dr. Uzma. So she started laughing and she was like, Acha, she didn't say anything about it. So I was like, was this, a wrong thing? Like, okay, I don't know. I didn't really think much at that time, but when Dr. Bilal came to give the talk, the first thing he said, this always sticks to me, that he said that you should dream big, there's not if you dream big, you're going to reach somewhere, right? If you're not going to reach that big dream of yours, you're going to reach at a level which you'll be satisfied with. So my dream was that I give the USMLE in third year, and when I came in, I could see that there was no one else who did it, and I was so lost. I was like, is this even possible? How am I gonna, and if I fail, what's gonna happen? But he was like, you should dream big, and if you guys
Yeah,
still think
so
it's
you
too
hear Dr.
late.
Bilal telling great stuff and Noha Manzoor telling great stuff. It's a marathon and fake it till you make it. All these things you hear it from Noha or Dr. Bilal.
Yeah. So when I went to him and I told him that I want to give it, he was really happy and he was very supportive, and he said that, we will support you, and we're always there. Like even Miss Christina, she sped up the process for verification. And if you want for getting some leeway here and there, then you should talk to him, according to your attendance and whatnot, if it's low and stuff. So do keep them in the loop. I do see some students who are hiding it from him. The more you tell him, the more he will help you university wise. Okay, he's your dean. He's not someone who is going to, you're not, he's not your boss, right? So he wants you to achieve things. He wants you to move forward. So, be open with him. Don't hide stuff from him. So that's what I told Maha. Maha was also like very shy about telling him about triad and about all that. I was like,
Instead of
no, you go.
approaching him, but
Even approaching him, he may be intimidating. When you talk to him, you'd be surprised. So, yeah. That's
I
the
mean, the
syllabus.
entire UMDC interview process and the dean, interviewing you was the main reason for my yes to UMDC. I mean, I was looking at
Exactly.
Dr. Bilal.
The mini interview. Even I didn't know about UMDC. And even my dad was like, "What is this UMDC?" And because my
I
dad's
was
not,
like, I'm not gonna get UMDC.
yeah,
I don't want to go to
yeah.
UMDC now.
Yeah, he was
But
ready for me not going into medicine, even though he was really like looking forward to me becoming a doctor. But when he heard about UMDC, he's like, I don't know what that is. And in Korangi, and I was like, yeah. And then
I
um
mentioned close to CBM, ताकि there's still some.
नहीं मैं तो कह रही थी इंडस हॉस्पिटल के साथ तो और भी सोचते थे कि अच्छा इंडस हॉस्पिटल के साथ but and that's when I passed, that's the main thing that I wanted more people from UMDC to give the step one, to pass it, to give other people, especially that's why I wanted first years. I want you guys to start so that there are a lot more people giving the exam and passing, and क्योंकि it's a normal thing, it's nothing special. अगर आप आखान में देखें, ज़ियादीन में देखें, there it's Dow. Oh my God, there's so many people who give it second year, third year, and they pass. And बस UMDC में मुझे ये नजर नहीं आ रहा था, तो it was kind of worrying me. I was like, um, why not? फिर मैं लोगों से पूछती थी, कहते हाँ हाउस जॉब के बाद देखेंगे, अभी टाइम नहीं है, ये वो। मैंने कहा अभी ही टाइम है, बाद में नहीं मिलेगा हमें।
Better
तो
now, ना fresh होती है
yeah,
वो.
it's better now. I feel like okay, I'm a little bit ahead of the people in house job even क्योंकि मैंने कर लिया. You have to give step one attention. साथ साथ नहीं कर सकते. I mean, I'm not the personality to give it, so it's something else. So when you start house job, then in university में ये है कि you're also under supervision, you could say, from the university, right? कि modulars चल रहे हैं, कुछ pathway है ना उस वक्त. After graduation, you're lost, right? Everyone's going through something else. No one has a set plan going on, and then giving your step one, doing house job, step two. With university, मुझे पता था कि अच्छा मेरी university तो चल रही है ना. Even if I don't pass my step one university, तो hey, I will graduate, right? But after university, फिर क्या करेंगे? फिर time waste ही होगा ना अगर कुछ ना हो.
I mean, you'd have to take break from house job या हर चीज से, and that's also not very much recommended.
नहीं.
You have a great big gap in your CV,
Yeah.
six,
And
7 months आप कुछ नहीं कर
especially
रहे.
क्योंकि UMDC is very supportive of your attendance. They're very supportive of everything. Like if you see down my brother's only in second year and they're not letting him give his modulars because he was 1-2% lower in attendance.
हाँ,
ठीक है
हम
हम
तो फर्स्ट सेकंड ईयर 10 भी पूरा करते थे ना. Like, I mean, I don't think we had any issues with attendance. हम जाते ही थे
हम जाते थे मगर मैं थोड़ा नहीं
regularly.
जाती थी या मैं रेगुलर नहीं जाती थी at some point, but alhamdulillah they didn't give me an issue. So you guys, you should take advantage of our university. They're very supportive with this. So there though, especially like now it might be a little too late because of prof, but if in fourth year शुरू से ही कर दो and then end of fourth year तक दे देना. क्योंकि fifth year तक everyone's too scared about the future in fifth year. I feel like it's a lot more stressful giving it in fifth year. So third year is definitely, start for fourth year. And that's the take home message. Start now. So it is almost three minutes left. Yes.
Uh, चलें हम let's move on to wrapping up this session. Thank you everyone for coming and joining this session. I hope it helped you anywhere. Thank you to our speakers, Miss Nuha Manzoor and Miss Maha. We wish you best of luck in your future endeavors. हम लोग hope करते हैं कि next 1 to 2 years you'll be making a session like this for residency after you match, inshallah ta'ala. Do you want to add something? You can, and then we'll proceed to end this session.
I think that's it.
Let's be
I'll stop
confident.
talking. Just be confident. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Take care. Take care, everyone. Lafis. Have a good day.
Thank you
Thank
guys for coming. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu
Lafis.
alaikum.
Lafis.